And hello, you. It's time for Type 40 Live. The live stream Doctor Who magazine show is back. As ever, we're streaming on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook, and covering all things Doctor Who for our sins, it seems, from all the way back then when it was all happening, wasn't it? To the here and now when the silence is saying so much, isn't it? And yeah, we're catching up with you too. We're going to open things right up, a chance for you to ask us anything within reason about us and Doctor Who and us. And yeah, he looks terrified, doesn't he? I don't know how the panel are going to look when we step into all of that. He's had it away on his toes, of course. We've got a question or two for him coming up, but Type 40 Live is back. Stay tuned. Is everything... Oh, sorry, mate. Bloody hell. Well, I'm ready. It looks like he isn't. So we'll give them a moment or two. Hello, I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks. It's been a couple of weeks, hasn't it? Good to see you. Well, it's good to be seen. It's good to see you. How are you? Yeah? Hot and bothered? It's cooling off a little, isn't it? About time as well. I've got fans on the go in here. I don't know how they're going to be faring when we check in with the rest of the panel, but it's great to be back. Of course it is, on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X, and this time more than ever, we really need your comments. So ask us anything within reason. Ask us anything. Keep it clean if you can. Ask us anything later on. That's coming up, and they're coming up as well. So fill up the console room once that guy's ready. Let's get some safer territory. I'm sure that one's not ready. Are they ready here? Are they ready? Oh, doesn't look like it, does it? Okay. Give them a couple of minutes as well. Long enough for me to bring in Charlotte Shields. It's been a while, Charlotte. Hello.
Hello, everybody. It has. It always feels like ages when we have these little breaks, I find.
It does, doesn't it?
But yeah, it has. It's been a weird one. We've had sun. I've had fun with dinosaurs in the cinema, so it's been a fun little break.
Dinosaurs in the cinema. Oh yeah, you went to see the Jurassic World Rebirth, didn't you? Good.
Yeah, me and Sarah, which was odd because when we went, it was rainy in Manchester, but we were inside for the actual watchings of it. Yeah. No, but for me, me and Sarah had a really good time with the movie, and it's done quite well, which has been a nice surprise.
So depending on how you get on with the hot weather, you either pick the right day or the wrong day.
You do.
Spend 2 or 3 hours in a darkened room in the aircon.
Yeah, like I just said, we did laugh, me and Sarah, afterwards. We were like, when we went, we didn't have any of the heat wave, and then afterwards we got the heat wave.
You do have somewhat of a glow about you. It's great to see you, as always. Not that you don't always. See
I've got a bit of colour.
Expert digs his way out of that one. I can handle women so well. Go on.
I was going to say, with my job, I'm outside, so I have actually managed to get a tiny bit of like colour on me. So I look like I've almost been abroad, which I haven't.
Are you going away this year? That's the kind of question a hairdresser asks. I know, but I just realised I haven't asked you.
No, but I'm going to do like little things, like because I've got my big holiday from work coming up, so I'm going to do stuff during the day, like trips and stuff. It's what I'm planning anyway.
And we're certain to find more nonsense to talk about here at Type 40 Live.
Definitely.
I would say, Charlotte, not just between us, but between them as well. Well, I mean them. I'm thinking of these two. So we've got back on the show, Gary Akers there. Hello, mate.
Hi, Gary.
Hello to you both. I should warn you in advance, I know nothing about myself. So I don't know how I'm going to do with these questions, but I'll give it a shot.
Just make it up. You're on YouTube. It's fine.
That's right. And I chatted with I chatted a while back with Sarah, and I heard all about Charlotte and Sarah's big night out at the movies. It sounds like it was a lot of fun.
It was.
Yeah, she said you really enjoyed the movie.
I like those Jurassic Park movies, I must say, even the iffy ones. I always enjoy them, Gary.
Yeah, I'm kind of spotty. I've only seen, what have there been, like 12 so far? I think I've only seen
at least.
I've only seen like 5.
I think they were saying this is technically the 7th now.
Okay, I missed a couple along the way.
All the best ones tend to star Sam Neill,
or Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum's the more bankable, isn't he? Almost as reliable is our real-life time traveller, of course, and here he is, Mr. Matt Part. Hello, mate. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Yes, it's morning and cold.
Hello, Matt.
It's morning, it's cold, but he's lit by the warm glow.
Yeah. I've actually got another screen on me because one of the globes is blown, so I thought I'd better put a nice white screen on in front of me. So I'm looking at the chat.
That'll be those.
Yes.
If you've blown a globe out, it usually means that your underpants are a little bit too tight. You might want to just.
It wasn't very smart, that's for sure.
Never mind.
Yeah,
It's good to see you, mate. Good to have you.
I was actually at the premiere for Jurassic Park in Australia. Like it was the very first screening, and they made a note of the fact that it was one of the first screenings in the world because we are so early here.
That's true.
Yeah, that they're like you should feel very, very, like proud to be here, And yeah, when we came out of the movie, me and my friend, we were like, that's a classic. That's a damn classic. And now they've had sequel after sequel after sequel, but nothing beats the original, I'm afraid.
I think that's always the case with these big franchise things.
Oh, I don't know. You got, Empire Strikes Back's pretty damn good. And Terminator 2 is pretty damn good.
Nothing will beat the original until they get Luke Walters to make one. That's my segue into bringing on the final member of the panel. Hiya, Luke.
You all right? You okay?
He's drunk.
Hair of the dog, mate.
Keeping it going. I'm not too bad, but
The questions aren't going to be that hard, Luke. You don't need to.
Well, I'm getting on now. I've turned 31. My knees are going. So
it's catching, mate. We've got somebody complaining about that coming up in a moment or two.
No, that's just genuinely true. It's genuinely true. I'm getting 31, and ever since I turned 31, my back is gone and my knees are gone. So I sympathise with Shuty. Gatwa.
Stay off. Just stay off the dance
You've been doing
floor,
too
you'll
many
be
yes queens. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Too many high kicks.
See me in Canal Street on a Saturday night. Jesus.
Yeah, no dancing. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm all prepped. I got some nice refreshing beverages, and I got a cupcake to celebrate. So there we go. I'm all prepped. Sustenance right there.
Oh, cupcake.
Yep, that is nutrition at its finest right there. Cider and cupcakes.
Mate, I hate to break it to you. I don't think it counts as one of your 5 a day.
It does. It's got... Yeah, fair enough. Well, I've got apples in it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Bit counts.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Maybe not.
Never mind.
Maybe not.
Never mind. What a state we're all in. I don't know. We're almost ready. We're almost sort of together. Are we? I think we're a lot more together than the TARDIS is, according to rumours, because in the time that we've been away, there's been people saying all sorts of stuff, but saying not much at all. There have been lots more rumours and things flying around, some of which is quite believable, some of which isn't at all. Some of it's fun. Some of it is a massive ball ache. But this is the one that sort of bobbed up most recently. This is from our friends on Reddit as well, because the rumor is currently that parts of the TARDIS have been taken down according to Reddit. So it could look something like this right now. So has anybody heard anything about this?
Yeah, I think I saw the Reddit thread where it said Bad Wolf give the BBC a deadline of got 8 weeks to decide what to do. If not, we're tearing it down, which is a little bit unheard of for a production company to say that to the main show. So I'd say it's a little bit unfounded, but it is reasonable to be fair.
It sounds like bullshit to me. That aspect does sound like a lot of bullshit. Here's the original rumor from Reddit. So yeah, end of the road for Bad Wolf, produced to Doctor Who, says one unconfirmed source, I suppose. Bad Wolf have officially given the BBC 8 weeks to make a decision on Doctor Who. The reason, the interior of the TARDIS. Yeah, you're quite right. Independent production companies do not wag the finger and give what for to the very studio that's awarded them the rights to make something. Which is completely ridiculous. But then it goes on to say the TARDIS has remained standing in Bad Wolf Studios since filming the 60th anniversary special began 3 years ago in 2022. It's too complex to dismantle and rebuild, and it is now taking up studio space that could be used on other productions. That's sensible enough, isn't it, Charlotte? That's feasible enough. But it's the opening paragraph.
Oh yeah, it's the dramatics of this is Reddit all over the way it's worded. Like you said, it's ultimatum.
Drama.
Like the BBC has to decide. Like, if currently the way Russell's speaking, they're the opposite of this right now. They're very like, oh, we don't know, maybe. They're sort of So for them to go to this is quite a feat. But what I do buy is at some point, if this show is off air for 5 years, like it's being floated around by people, and even in the magazine, Tom Spilsby sort of basically putting that out there, and others saying that
in all fairness to Tom, he doesn't really work on the magazine anymore. But yeah, you're quite right. He has spoken about it.
Well, my point is, it's the people that have got industry experience now of some description saying this isn't a small break, folks. Get ready. It's almost like preparing the fan base, I feel like. So if it's a bigger break than we maybe thought originally for this show to come back, then you can't have a massive set stood for that amount of time. You just can't as a production
Not indefinitely.
company.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense for money reasons. So that aspect I completely actually think is feasible, because we've seen this set. It is absolutely massive. And just to
Positively cavernous.
to have it sat there without actually a use, you would start to think, maybe we need to start thinking, when's this coming down if it's not going to be used for about 5 years.
You have to think, how many years was it up for? Like 3 years, and it was hardly used anyway.
That's
right.
true.
Good point. What do you think the screen time of the TARDIS console room amounts to over seasons 1 and 2, Gary, and the various specials? It can't be that much.
Well, I can tell you, I'm not going to go. I can't give you a precise amount because I'm not going to go back and rewatch the episodes and count out the seconds. I would say
We insist you do this.
I would say maybe half an hour at most.
Yeah.
I have sent Bad Wolf an email saying that I'll give him £10 for the jukebox if they want to get rid of it.
I'll have a roundel.
Nice idea.
There you go.
Ship me a roundel. I'll be fine.
That's the thing. I think
I'll
this is
put
one
it
of those rumours that if it happens, and this is a big if, it will get out. Like, people will speak. Like, there'll be stuff appearing on certain people's.
It'll definitely get out through the floor there if they have taken bits of it away. This particular rumor goes on to state, hopefully this means we should have further and more definite insight into the future of the show within the next 2 months. And then there's a bit of a disclaimer there. So I really think they're hoping against practically all hope with this. And I wouldn't describe now a silly season. I think it's simply quiet time. Simply a quiet time. But Doctor Who fans don't handle quiet time very well, do they? And I think that Reddit is possibly going to make this considerably worse. It's hardly a huge surprise. I agree with you if this is happening, Charlotte. I mean, what are your instincts telling you about this, Matt? I mean, is it? And if it is down, would you be sad about it?
Me? Yeah, look,
All that unfulfilled potential.
I was, it's a lot of lost potential. I'm one of the few that actually enjoyed the LED lights in the actual TARDIS.
As well.
So I think, and they didn't use them enough. That was for sure. When they were flashing, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought, yes, that means it's actually moving. It's great. It's great visually. For me, it was great visually, and it was more lively than Shuty Gatwa was. That's for sure. And it just wasn't utilized enough.
Nope.
And I remember the whole rumors going, it's okay. He's going to have an entire episode set in the TARDIS, and it never happened. And all he used it for was to get changed, and we never even saw any extra rooms. So, I remember when they were dismantling the Whittaker TARDIS, and they were selling bits off, and people were showing off the pieces they got.
I think the same's going to happen with this. Once it starts getting taken down,
they can't put it anywhere, can they, Charlotte? Like, unless they have a dedicated stage for it for visitors or whatever to go into, like an open thing, it'll never ever be able to be stored anywhere. I don't think they designed it like that, where it could be put into storage. Like, literally, that's the reason why it's holding the whole thing up, So whether or not it's because of practicality, I'm surprised that Bad Wolf is even saying, right, BBC, what are you doing? It's like, well, what are you doing, Bad Wolf? because you were producers of the show, so you should also be in the click for what's going on with the show. But you don't know, and no one knows.
It reminds me, Matt. You having said that, it reminds me of the situation that they were in with the Torchwood Hub set. Luke, do you remember that? That was huge, and it was on 3, maybe more levels. And I think that they didn't want to necessarily strike the whole thing, but kind of had to, because it was so complicated, took up so much space in a much smaller facility. Obviously, Bad Wolf is far more sprawling and a more international setup than the old studios at Rothlock. But the same principle applies. There's only so much space, isn't there?
Yeah, and if anyone cares, my cupcake was really good, and I made a gigantic mess. So if you see me doing this, I'm not going mad. But yeah, the Torchwood set and the old TARDIS set was in, where was it? It was in Pontypridd or Treforest Industrial Estate. So it was just out of Cardiff. It's about a 20-minute drive. And Matt Smith's set was built on the old Torchwood set because they needed space, and they kept Tennant's TARDIS up, and Torchwood was going, so they built it over the top of that. But my only caveat for this entire thing is nothing is being filmed in Bad Wolf right now. I think the only show they've got, realistically, from what I remember, is Industry. Apart from that, Bad Wolf Studios, I don't think they've got anything in. I don't think there's anything going in there for a while, from what I've heard. So for them to be like, striking it, we need the space and blah, blah, blah. They haven't had anything there. All they've had is Industry.
I know that I Hate Suze has worked its way to its conclusion, so that's not in production at all anymore. And now you've said that, I can't think of a single show that I know that is Bad Wolf.
No, because you had Winter King,
Sean?
which is gone.
I was going to say, the only thing I can think of is maybe they've got something big, possibly, like, that they've been working on, like, quietly, like, rights to a big, like, thing. Because the last thing they did that did really well was The Dark Materials, which was based off books. So that wasn't an original program. That was, like, material that had already been established. So maybe, and I'm just speculating here, maybe another book or another big series has said, we want you to adapt our material now. And that's what the sort of they know
embracing
about,
themselves for a proper sprawling international production.
No,
so they tried more.
They tried it. So after they did his Dark Materials, so they did Discovery of Witches, which was again is an adaptation, which did okay. Then they did his Dark Materials, which season 1 did great, and then it kind of fell off a cliff in season 2 and 3, and they wrapped it up. And then they did The Winter King, which was a co-production with Stars in America, I think, and it went out. I think it was an ITVX exclusive about a year later than it went out in America, and it just went on to ITVX, and then it come on to ITV, and that flopped. Like, no one has seen it. Like, literally no one has seen it. And I know a lot of the people that worked on it as well, and they did a good job. And but it's just they've got Industry there, but they haven't got nothing else because they'd be crewing up right now as well. And I know I got friends that work in Bad Wolf, and I know a couple of people that were in there the other day. Yeah. There's nothing going in there from what I can tell and speaking to people. No one is being like, we're queuing up to get in. So.
Why don't they just make lemons out of lemonade or lemonade out of lemons and do a live special of them dismantling the set? That would probably get higher ratings than the actual episode
in real time. Then they could sell the sped up version of it as some sort of special feature or desktop wallpaper. I don't know. This isn't the only source that I've heard for this story. I have heard other things. I did hear a whisper that parts of the TARDIS, only parts, had been taken away. Uninstalled was the word that was used when somebody spoke to me about this. They deliberately specifically mentioned the upper walkways area. They don't actually lead anywhere, just in case you hadn't worked that bit out. No. So that those had been removed, and more importantly, that the console itself had been taken away, uninstalled. But this is still only whispers. I'd still take this all with, kind of like Luke was saying.
So are we expecting a show called Doctor Who Dismantled or something?
Yeah.
Well,
the
console does make sense for being possibly taken, because if they have like any exhibits in the future, if they have these sort of things that they are sort of seemingly to go back to, they've got that Worlds of Wonder thing, they've got other things. Consoles tend to be a big thing to have as part of your display. So to keep that would make sense to me.
It's
Maybe
it's all
a
in
lot of
one
power.
though. That's the thing. It's not nothing is segmented. That's the problem. It looks like it's all in one.
Oh,
So
oh,
Also, Matt, we're in a cost of living crisis. You know, electricity, all that kind of thing, gas, electrics. It's all gone up.
well, they did have
save
LED
a few
lights.
quid. Again, it's all down to the
It's good
lighting.
for climate change.
Maybe we'll have some more answers about that later on. Yeah, because coming up is Ask Us Anything. The doors thrown wide open to all of it. Yeah, they look terrified. The panel, I think we're bearing up okay so far. So have your questions ready. Get something brewing about something you've always wanted to ask us about Doctor Who and anything related. Obviously, we're together as much as we can be, and refreshed after a little bit of time away. Let's go and check in with a live chat and see what else is going on. But first of all, before we do that, yeah, I was wondering, Luke, have you won any awards since we last spoke?
Probably.
Oh.
But
Yes,
if you haven't
yes,
got them to,
Yes, I have, but I haven't got them to hand because they're packed up because I'm currently in the middle of moving flat. But yeah, I won. We did not for Time Machine actually. I think. Oh no, I think we won one for Time Machine, and then we won 8 for another film at a film festival.
Very
8 or
good.
9. So yeah, we did pretty well.
good stuff. Well, you haven't got them to hand, but fortunately, this guy has.
Wow.
You look like those soccer people. Oh, sorry, football in America.
This is my reward, okay? This is
We
my
have
reward.
some very, very creative people there out there in the Type 40 community. Thank you so much. You know who you are. There'll be more coming up a little later on. We've got the Zero Room in the live chat. Early doors here. I'm pleased to hear you too, Zero Room, along with Stephen Braddock. Good to have you back. Hello, everyone, says Stephen. Who else is here? We have
Garbage is in the chat. He's currently there. With
That's
his wrench,
garbage.
so
You say
thank
Zero
you.
Room's asking me something like I don't understand what you're talking about, Zero Room. Hail chat and a buzzing chat already, says Garbage. Good to have you back, Garbage. And we have Rose Kirby there on a nice, cool Monday evening here in the UK. Good afternoon, good morning to all. The universe blessings and greetings and love and joy to all. Wow.
27 degrees where I am in Manchester. It's horrendous.
What now?
I'm not suited
Yeah,
to this.
well, yeah. I just got in. It's absolutely. I'm sorry, Charlotte. I was supposed to join you on that Saturday as well. With Sarah, I was supposed to be there. And I completely. Yeah, I had to go over to Leeds last minute, so I'm so sorry. I meant to say that earlier.
His thing, me and Sarah love going to Manchester, so there'll be a time when we can, all three of us, can definitely do it.
I
We'll
live
make
here
sure.
and I don't like it. Jesus.
Be warned, be
Maybe that's
warned.
why
Look,
we don't live in Manchester, we visit.
Yeah.
It's great to have Lord Thoth back in the live chat as well, along with Adrian James. Hey, everyone. Domgo says evening all. And we've got Woodhouse 122. Evening all as well. Hope everyone's knees are okay. Yeah. And namaste.
Ours are.
Greetings and salutations, says Dr. Rick Douglas, MD. Great to see you back, Doctor. And who else is here as we scroll our way through? Let's see who else is here. Tom from T Dwarf Productions, hard at work on his green crab model for the star sign of Cancer. Tom, I think he's always working on something, Gary. I just
He
assume
is.
Tom's always.
He's never rests. 24/7 with him.
His fingers never rest in the nicest possible way. Let's hear the tune, says Domgo. We played
That's
the
what
tune.
she said.
We played.
Where's David Millen when you need him? Jesus.
Stephen O'Neill gets us out of that one. Good evening from a sun-kissed Wigan, says Stephen. Wigan in the UK.
Really?
Looks like it is literally everywhere, Gary. And Rob Alexander says, good evening, all should be a fun one tonight. We'll do our best. Dance, 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 says the Zero Room. I think the Zero Room's on the pop as well. Matthew Butterfield is in the live chat, as is Donny, or is it Danny? The Sentai Ranger. Happy Bastille Day. Actually, now. I love doing this. Hope everyone's weekend was well. What do you think of my new profile pic of Superman as a Power Ranger? I think it's a work of art, Donny. A work of art.
Things I never thought would be in one picture.
It's very good.
Happy Bastille Day.
It's
oh,
lovely though.
God. We have, what else is here? Who else is about? We've got, Sentai Danny. He's on a roll. He's on a roll. Pluto says, hello. Hello back to you too. Pluto, tear down the wall, insists the Zero Room. I think he's talking about the TARDIS set.
Yeah.
Gary, that would be my guess. That would be my guess there.
Isn't that a
Tom
song?
Haynes.
Tear it all down.
we can
Massive Chris
put it
Jericho
together.
fan.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, says Tom Hayes. And we've got Rebirth is mad, is mid.
Mid.
Superman is good, says Dr. Rick again. So,
Jurassic
Rebirth is the
Park.
Jurassic
Yeah.
Park movie. Got it.
Yeah.
What were we talking about for a minute?
Oh,
there?
come on. How can Scarlett Johansson be mid? I mean,
Yes.
seriously.
It's too hot in Wigan, so Stephen. He hasn't been able to even go to the cinema. He hasn't
complaining and
been
live
to the
in
cinema in a while.
Australia, for God's sake, during summer.
Yeah, we're not going to get any sympathy out of Matt Potts here.
No.
Good evening, Gaul, says
I've
Adrian.
been even hotter
Darren
places.
says it. Evening as well. And we've got lots more of all that kind of jazz there coming up. Thank you, everybody, for all of this so far.
Is that a
lots-
Welsh Dalek? Sorry, is that a
How-
Welsh Dalek?
I can't quite make it. It could be. I think. Yeah. Oh, yes, it would be. It's Darren.
I think it's
Yes.
AI. I don't think it exists.
I got a photo of the most terrifying thing. It is related. It is Doctor Who, so bear with. But it is the most terrifying creation you've ever seen.
Clean. We're trying to keep a clean sheet this time.
Have a look.
That's actually.
Okay,
That's
what's
really
it got?
good. I hate
It's
AI.
the Blobby Dalek.
Oh,
It's the
God.
Mr.
Wow.
Blobby Dalek, the most terrifying being in all of creation. So there you go.
How are you? Are you,
Blobby,
Mr. You can't be a Mr. Blobby fan. It would be before your time, Luke, wouldn't it?
No, Mr. Blobby was still kicking around when I was there. So
It's the cult
He
of
went to,
Blobby.
probably
still
went to
in
Blobby Land.
yeah, I saw it yesterday.
Pluto asks, how is everyone tonight? I think you had better be the judge of that, Pluto. How did we sound to you? Some of us on the cusp of sobriety, but that's going to last for the entire show. So we shall see. Dongo says, if only Bad Wolf could be taken down as well. So, Woodhouse122 says, Reddit has some BS, but I can believe Bad Wolf will eventually take down this. Well, it will eventually. Nothing lasts forever and all that jazz, does it,
I
Gary?
need to space. It's just
We need to do a live stream on location. If you find out like which day they're dismantling it, you need to do sneak in and do a live stream from there. You know, that would be
Imagine the
that
dust
would be
because
awesome.
it's so white. The dust having to clean that thing. Like,
Yeah.
Getting all those switches and things like that, it would be a bloody nightmare, wouldn't it? Yes, the doors.
all the
got
roundels and
closed.
everything up in the thing. You can see
Closed
they're getting a bit
permanently.
black in some areas too. You know, so yeah.
We shall
Very
see. We shall see. Ironic that the TARDIS always blows people away when seeing that it's bigger on the inside than the outside. But this is overkill. Well, this was overkill. I loved it at first, as I think I've said before, but it has.
Me too.
I've sort of come round to everybody else's way of thinking. Really, I'm sort of sick of the sight of it now. I saw the
Started to
Peter
utilise,
Capaldi
and that was
set
the-
a couple of weeks ago, Matt, and I just thought it was just wonderful. Like,
Oh, I love the
Yeah.
library. Oh
Yes,
God, I love the
yes,
library.
absolutely.
Far out.
I think the problem
Just
is,
shows, you know.
and I've always
Sorry,
said
Sean.
this, it doesn't connect to either the Tennant Doctor, who initially had it, like in the 60th, or Shuty. There's nothing personality-wise. There's nothing.
Oh, he got the
that
jukebox
makes-
though, didn't he?
I
Yeah,
thought the
but it's an
jukebox was a good.
jukebox.
It was a. I thought the jukebox was a good starting point, but they've never really done it. I can't remember the last time they played anything on it. So what's the point in it being there? Barry Jones has heard some of the same rumours that I have. TARDIS Travels has joined us with a hi or good to see you, mate. And we've got Josh H in the live chat and Richard Brooks too, who's not a fan of those railings. Neither
Yeah.
am I.
They were hospital railings. I don't know why they used those. They could have been so more imaginative.
I mean, it seems like it's become clear now that it was all done. All that money was spent for clicks on social media of the pictures of the new TARDIS, and that was it.
I think it was
Mhm.
to be made more like modern day accessible for certain individuals. So I think that was the reason the design way of it. because I mean, there were no steps. Let's just say that there were no steps.
And to be fair, still is a versatile set. There's a lot of possibilities. As you're saying, they've built all these different features into it. You could do a lot potentially with that, should the screen time permit it. But, we worked out between us, it's probably on screen for about half an hour tops.
The one thing that they could probably reuse is the little wheelchair ramp, which was never used. So it's brand new. They can reuse that in another production, because for all the hoopla about it's now wheelchair accessible, we never saw that ramp.
Who knows how it's going to pick up? Obviously, there's been a big fallout. Disney Plus and Bad Wolf, the partnership is dissolved. It is no more. We haven't heard anything else yet. Maybe they have. I think they probably have. By all accounts, we are aware. We've been hearing that the brand, the property, the IP is being shopped around to other streaming platforms. But expecting them to tell us about that any sooner than they would have to, I think is quite naive. It's very much their production, and in the 21st century, marketing, PR, it's all strictly measured, more I think than it ever was. Certainly when Russell T Davies was originally on the show, where he couldn't stop blurting about it, and the streaming landscape is more crowded and more complicated than ever. The rumor is a few of the platforms are actually going to be culled in the not too distant future. All sorts of things going on in the States with places like Paramount Plus. So how Doctor Who could figure in that landscape as it moves forward, wherever it is, who knows? Who knows? It's a good job we've got Luke and everything going on at Cinescope Productions. They're dropping your films, and the full length Hooligans is now up as well, isn't it? Hooligans, the movie, is this billed as?
It is Hooligans. That's such a good poster, by the way. I love that poster. Yes, it is. So the entire web series is out, and then we decided to bin it all off, and we created a Tales of the TARDIS-esque feature of it, which is very tongue in jest. It's very jokey and jovial, and yeah, it's a bit of fun, and you can definitely see where it is a web series tied together with. But we filled in the gaps with some TARDIS scenes, and it's very much paying homage to the old Tales of the TARDIS that came out back in the day. And yeah, it's now out for everyone to enjoy. It's 66 minutes. I think it's been shaded to various other Doctor Who groups by myself, and other people who seem to have liked it have actually been like, oh wow, cool. People know actually how to make good Doctor Who, and I'm not saying I did, because this is nothing to do with Doctor Who. Even though we have a Time Lord like TARDIS and Santaran and Regenerations and a fob watch. Who knows? But yes, that is out. So if anyone wants to go watch something that's a bit of fun, a bit jesty, yes, go have a look for Hooligans: The Lost Fandom on the Cinescope channel.
Bring back the fun, mate. Bring back the fun. More about Cinescope Productions later on. And there's the Type 40 podcast too, of course. Just a reminder that you can get us in your ears as well as up on your screen there across all major podcatchers with the Type 40 Doctor Who podcast. The latest edition, our full review of the classic story of the Time Meddler, that is up now on Audible, Spotify, and all those places, wherever you get your podcasts, or at our home feed at type40.podbean.com, as always. But this is Type 40 live on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. It's great to be back, everybody, and a lively chat as well as ever. I keep ourselves cooled down. I think the hard stuff is in this particular mug, Luke, but yeah, keep yourselves refreshed and get the questions coming. We're going to get to those in a little while, but before we go there, let's go and catch up with them.
Oh my God. Stephen and Vicky, Peter Purves and Maureen O'Brien.
Yeah, no.
At one point I thought about putting him in this episode.
Did you?
At one point there was a giant cow in UniHQ. One of the creatures like the Vlinks.
Oh yeah.
There was going to be a big cow sitting at a desk. Then it turned out to be Stephen in disguise. And the things that go through my head, I know. The things you don't ever see that like,
wow.
He was going to go wham like that. I'm here to fight the Toy Maker. And it would have been much better than that.
Always gets a smile.
Face is never going to not be funny in that
He's
video.
insane.
That goes to show what was going to happen. You know what the future laid in front of us. You know, we were like, oh God, if that's what he
Just
can
think what we
up
missed.
of.
Think what we missed. I mean, is anybody missing Shuty Gatwa yet? That is the question. The 15th Doctor departed from the screens not that long ago, really, just a few weeks ago. It feels like we barely knew him. Shuty Gatwa, we didn't see him for dust, really, when it came to the crunch. A lot of confusion surrounding the brand and Billy Piper's involvement, of course, short-term and long-term. And quite understandably, nobody's taking any kind of accountability for anything, are they? But I think we're sort of used to that. We're used to that from our various intellectual properties now. Shuty Gatwa has been spotted, though, out and about, because it's that time of year again, Wimbledon fortnight, and there is no event, I think, no sporting event, certainly, that the kind of the poshos and the posers like more than Wimbledon. And obviously the weather would be fantastic for it. Here's Shuty. So he was, he's not Doctor Who anymore, and he started to dress like a normal person. Here he's in long trousers, and doesn't he look fantastic? I think this is great. He could be suffering. I think, Luke, he may have had a rough night the night before, whenever this was taken, but he was snapped by the Paps, who were at Wimbledon just a few short days ago, having a rare old time. So it seems, throwing himself into it, looking very physically capable. And anybody see this? Any Wimbledon fans? He's got his portable fan on him there to keep cool. Anybody see this?
No, I'd seen some of the other stars, like I know DiCaprio was there, so I saw him in the news.
He's everywhere, isn't he? I don't think he actually makes any films anymore. It's a question of
every couple of years he makes a film.
They like being seen at occasions like Wimbledon, Gary. I would imagine there's equivalents in the States.
To Wimbledon? Probably Kentucky Derby. You know, a big kind of flashy sporting event like that.
Is that geared around motor racing, the Derby?
No, that's horse racing. Horse racing. I don't know. I'm sure there is a big US tennis thing. I mean, they have the US Open, you know, big things like that, you know, throughout the year. But
Still Peter Capaldi at Glastonbury. That was good.
It was well. I think it was good for him. I don't think it was that good for anybody who could hear him. But he was having a great time, and who doesn't love Peter Capaldi? We talked about that, myself and Sarah talked about that for a little. But yeah, that was quite good to see. I think Glastonbury very much peaked with Capaldi's involvement. This was quite low key for Shuty Gatwa, as I've said, in the way that he's dressed and the way that he behaved. Because he has been very, very tight-lipped since the promotion of the 2025 season of Doctor Who. Despite the fact that practically the whole of fandom knew that he'd already left, he didn't really let on, did he? And like I say, it's been how long? 5 weeks, maybe, since it all wrapped up. We hadn't heard a peep from Grassman Gatwa. I think he's going to go down in history as, but he has finally broken his silence. So he was speaking in the safe company of Laura Kussenberg on the BBC Sunday Morning News show to discuss. Now, he was there to talk about A Born with Teeth. We spoke about this a few months ago. This is the play that he's about to do that sort of reimagines this relationship. It reimagines an actual relationship for the modern age between these two rival playwrights, William Shakespeare obviously being the one and Christopher Marlowe being the other. Gatwa plays Marlowe, and Edward Blummel plays Shakespeare. This is at the Royal Shakespeare Company, their production in London. It's on from August, so they were there to promote that. But the host did turn the topic to Doctor Who. I was really surprised to see this, but I wasn't that surprised to see Shuty shift so uneasily. I mean, just his body language there, I think, says quite a lot. And that nervous laugh. Has anybody seen this clip? Were you aware of it? Were you watching it at the time? I don't watch these. Obviously, I don't watch the BBC at all, but I certainly don't watch their politics shows. Are you joking?
I didn't see it when it went out, but I watched some of the clips when people were like, "Oh, Shuty was on," and he said some silly stuff. So then I watched the bits.
Unsurprisingly, yeah, it has travelled when the conversation did flip over to Shuty. Now, but I wasn't expecting it being supposed to be a serious sort of political show. I wasn't expecting the host to ask him about Doctor Who at all, to tell you the truth. But when she did, well, this is what Gatwa had to say. Check it out.
Did you walk away?
Because I'm getting old and my body was tired. My knee, and I've now just started doing some ballet. So I'm making really great decisions here. It's the most amazing job in the world. It's a job that any actor would dream of. And because it's so good, it's strenuous. It takes a lot out of you, physically, emotionally, mentally. And so it was time.
It was time. Was that awkward or what?
You got that sense of he was like, what word can I say which I'm not going to have my agent have a massive go at me for afterwards?
This is clearly what Shuty Gatwa is like when he's thinking on his feet and has no answer prepared in advance, I think, Charlotte.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I've said this before, he seems so naive at times, this bloke. It's like, it's your first interview after the show's finished. Like, you had a shock exit. Like, it's your first sort of, like you said, proper interview. Of course Doctor Who's going to come up. Of course, why did you leave? Every actor, even when it's clear they left in very good terms, gets asked that question. It's just part of being a doctor, but he seems almost taken back, like you said, and sort of wrong-footed about when it got brought up.
I'm getting older. My body was tired. He's 32, 33.
No,
Luke?
I know the feeling. Yeah, I know the feeling.
I talked to the wrong bloke, aren't I? You're fucked.
Yeah, yeah. My body's battered, and yeah. So I think apparently I've torn like a bit of my meniscus or something in my knee. I did it on the computer chair, just sliding myself forward, and my knee went. So I completely sympathise with him. So yep, fair enough.
This is just
very convincing,
inexplicable to me. I mean, I think that I think Hartnell, Pertwee, and Peter Capaldi have now gone up. They're now like physical fitness icons, in the Doctor Who world. If this guy's 30 years old and his body's getting tired, I mean, he did what, less than 20 episodes where he was actually on screen most of the time, 19, 20 episodes. First of all, this doesn't make him look good for any future prospects of, TV people wanting to sign him on for like 2, 3, 4 years of a show. If he gets wasted after less than 20 episodes. And now he's going to do ballet, which is not physical or strenuous or exhausting in the slightest. So if he gets wiped out doing less than 20 episodes of a TV show, I'm not sure ballet is probably the smartest thing to go into next.
But to be fair, living in Cardiff is quite strenuous. So
I wasn't expecting Shuty Gatwa to say anything anytime soon, to tell you the truth. I thought it would be months, if not a couple of years, before somebody would pin him down to talk about Doctor Who and to ask him, I suppose, that question. It's one thing to say, did you enjoy Doctor Who? What are you doing next? All that kind of thing. But she wasn't buying it at all. What did she say? Oh, come on. And obviously this woman, she's one of the BBC's sort of most faithful employers. This woman is going to be more likely to toe any party line and give him an easy ride. But she couldn't contain her laughter.
I think it was such a response that even if you're trying to be kind to him, you just couldn't stop the physical reaction because it's just ludicrous. I'm sorry. Like, yes, this is an intense role. Like, the other actors in the past have spoken about how long the shoots can be, how much. But as Gary pointed out, they had 13-episode runs. He had less episodes than any other Doctor, and he still got a Doctor-like episode every series. So he didn't even film all 8 of those episodes. And it also, all those other people before him did multiple years of filming. He did it in one massive block. So he didn't even do 2 years worth of filming technically. It was 1 year. And they just split it over the 2 years and gave it the Series 1 and Series 2 moniker. So it's not like he's had 2 or 3 years in the role on and off filming. So I would say
it's understandable that we fixate on the things that he actually said, but the truth of the matter is we can all tell that that's all bullshit. I think Ian Scales is quite right. What it actually points to is all the stuff he's not saying and the reason why he's not saying it. Now, it is true that we aren't entitled to know the real reasons. I understand that it was a professional engagement, him playing the Doctor, and it sounds like it was quite a contentious time, quite heady, and it probably isn't going to be something that anyone is going to be able to speak about in any sort of relaxed way. There may even be legal implications for all that we know concerning contracts or even conduct. We simply don't know. So I don't delight in seeing even Shuty Gatwa squirm, but I have to. It's because the answer was on the surface so unlikely. I think it's understandable that we're scoffing at this, Matt.
He spent more time posing than he did anything else, being energetic or anything. He just to me, like, how many times did we see his athletic body? I mean, my God, it's just ridiculous. And I mean, you wait until you're 47, mate. You know, that's when everything's gonna really, really break down and like click. So yeah, you know, it's just like I wish I had, you know, I was going to say I wish I had your body, but no.
Don't say that.
Peter Capaldi had two extra decades on the clock when he took the role over this dude, and he was making 12, 13 episodes at a time. Yeah, Capaldi did land himself in hospital, to be fair. He damaged his leg, didn't he, doing it? But he did it. You know, he did it for 2-3 seasons over 3 years or so, and I never heard him complain about it once.
William Hartnell was doing 42 to 44 episodes a year, cranking these out, and maybe get 1 week off, you know, sometimes. But we're supposed to sympathize with him, with his body getting tired. If his body was tired, then why was he posting gym selfies every other day? You know, for
the time.
months?
That's what I'm saying. He just posed all the time, and he was so like. I mean, he could have played Mr. Fantastic because of the way that, you know, he was posing himself with his legs.
People are really unloading on him in the live chat. Richard Brooks says he's a moron. Z says he's an idiot. We've got what a total liar from Richard Brooks, undoubtedly. But I think the truth of the matter is, as Stephen says here, it just seems quite insincere.
Yeah,
it's very awkward to watch. It doesn't wash at all. I understand that it was live. I see the situation that he was in, but that doesn't mean that after what this gentleman has been party to and the things that he said about the viewers when we reacted in ways to the material that he didn't appreciate, I think we're fully entitled to, if not take joy in this, to find it amusing. I don't think that makes us bad people, Luke.
No, and I think, to be fair, I get what you're all saying, but I don't think you can compare like a Hartnell run to a Capaldi and a Smith run, because because I know we're saying they're cranking out like 40 odd, blah blah blah, but it's soap opera. Like, you know, you see people like Doc Cotton was pumping them out for like 80 odd years or 40 years, and now you're making an action movie a week. And we know Capaldi and Smith both had the same surgery, which became known as like the doctor's injury, which is in the knee. Tennant had his back done. Jodie seems to have come through unscathed, but yeah. So I do get it from that degree, but also he's definitely lying. He's definitely lying. Like, I don't believe him. But
I think it's been proven though he's not an action hero. Like, he's just not an action hero. So I'd like to see what else, you know, the reasons for his.
Zach Whitson says that this is going to rule him out of being James Bond, Charlotte. So it's not all
That's
bad news.
it. He's just not going to do it.
Well, no, here's the thing, like, his initial, like, couple of episodes did sort of try and put him as a bit of this energetic doctor. sort of the running about a bit. You saw a bit of that, and then it just sort of faded away, like a lot of other things they set up about
Space
his
Babies
character.
really put him out, I reckon.
Yeah.
All those high kicks, speculates Ian Scales. Demolpin says, I'm sure NDAs are involved, but the endless bullshit from the production has been insulting. And the tone hasn't been, the relationship between the audience and the production has been found considerably wanting compared to how it's been in the past. That's indisputable. Fly Highland says, I wish I had Shuty's body.
That's been clipped now, Matt. Good luck.
I'll put that on a shirt.
I was going to say, I want a t-shirt.
When we last saw
Shuty's... He's in shape. He's in shape. I'll give him his flowers.
Fantastic shape.
Boys in cred shape. Fair play to him.
That's going to have to be
tired.
That's going to have to be Matt's sign off now when he does his videos.
No.
Yeah.
He's going to say, who am I?
Okay.
I'm the guy that wants a Shuty's body.
Can we put that to a poll? Put it in the chat.
When we last saw Shuty Gatwa's body, of course, it was bursting with energy. But the host of this show only went and asked him, we've only just got rid of this sod. And she actually asked him if he had any plans on returning to the part. Yeah. Can you believe that? So again, another answer which I don't think he expected to be asked this either. But this is what he got to say when she put him on the spot for a second time. Check this out. Any second now.
StreamYard changed things, folks, just so you know. So Dan's getting used to that tonight.
Yeah.
This is called
everything's
dramatic.
gone to thing tonight.
We can do a reenactment.
Everything's changed in the last 3 weeks since we've been gone.
Back with the mysteries of time travel, because they do. You know, David Tennant keeps turning up again and again and again.
They do.
Can you ever imagine doing that?
Never say never.
I think that's almost a yes. Maybe if it was the right. Maybe if it was the right script.
Right.
That is a smile of "Do not ask me another question about Doctor Who," wasn't it?
If this is a political show, seriously, why is she asking this stuff? If it's a political oriented show,
this is the latest in a line of in inverted commas political shows on a Sunday morning that I think David Frost started maybe 20, 30 years ago, and then Andrew Marr took it over. I can't remember who did it before, and then this person. So it's a kind of tradition that these are kind of like breakfast TV sort of productions, but for a weekend.
Okay.
And they do mix in entertainment, particularly stuff that's connected with the stage. They're talking about ballet and Shakespeare and all that kind of thing. So you won't get sort of soap stars on there. And he wouldn't have been on there talking about Doctor Who because it's too populist in and of itself when Doctor Who was actually on. But because of the audience that show's got, which tend to be people who are a bit sort of more middle class, it goes for that sort of more arts-based guests. That's why.
Okay.
Does that shirt he's wearing say Ballet Black?
I'm afraid
it's a company. Yeah. It's
Are you serious? So I could go on a shirt with a shirt saying Ballet White?
No, it's a charity in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh,
from what I understand, it's a charity.
Yeah, somebody in the chat says it was formed as a response to the lack of professional Black and Asian ballet dancers in the UK.
Oh, well, there we go. Inspiring change since 2001. So there we go. I had no idea. I'm not a ballet fan, so I don't know if there's been a dearth.
What I did find funny though, the whole comment about Tennant there, when she's basically having a bit of a dig. That's what it came across to me.
Wasn't it?
With like, about Tennant, he's always coming back. Like that's what I find fascinating is the BBC is suddenly. We had the Dead Ringers thing a couple of weeks ago. You've now got Laura Koomsberg. And so that if people don't know her, she's the most BBC woman going. She's always very sort of she party line. She's the embodiment of that. So the fact that she's now having digs about Tennant always being back, and like you said, her saying "come on" to Shuty. I think the BBC are sort of. And I don't want to say they're becoming anti-Doctor Who because they make it, but it seems to be they're suddenly being a lot more honest.
No one wants to be seen anywhere near a failure or aligned with a failure. And the sad fact of the matter is that where the brand is at the moment, it represents a colossal failure and a breaking down of Doctor Who. I've said before, anywhere you lay that turd, it's going to stink. And that's why you get so much disdain now from people in the broader media, because it has the stench of failure about it in the same way that it did in 86. I know the show ran until 89 in the classic era, but it was never the same once the BBC itself turned on it. Once Michael Grade had axed it, it was never the same. And it didn't matter how many series that they commissioned after the fact. That stench, that sense that the series was running with cancellation forever at its heels, was always there for the remainder of its time in production. And that's how it is. That's how it is now. Okay, nothing is in production at the moment, but the link is still there. It's kind of back to being a hunted animal again. And Shuty Gatwa, he went from looking really quite relieved to be there on the surface representing and talking about something else. I think that could have been why he was wearing the shirt even. But once she flipped it around and that guy looked like he wanted to be practically anywhere else and couldn't be more relieved when the topic moved on. Jess is in the live chat and says, whoever you are, wherever you are, ballet is one of the most disciplined and demanding both physically, emotionally, for those true professionals. I mean, I don't know in what capacity Shuty Gatwa was going to be doing it and for how long. It could be a charity do where they get celebs to do it for a couple of weeks. I don't know anything about Ballet Black, and I wish anything charitable all the best. But you're quite right. Just doing it for a fortnight, if the bloke's as knackered as he's making out, it's going to fuck him up big time. Zach Witten says, give Shuty a break. All that virtue signalling was very tiring. Not a great deal of sympathy here in the live chat. Those costumes have played havoc with his body, suggests Stephen O'Neill. Yeah, you could be right.
You know what? Seriously, this is not about Shuty. I just thought that's something that the BBC really needs to do. You know, don't they have the show where they take all the celebrities and put them in a house together or something? Is that a show?
Oh, Big Brother. That's
right, Big Brother. They need to just get random celebrities and have them, have to do ballet or attempt to do ballet. That would be great.
He didn't rule out returning. Heaven forbid, says Stephen O'Neill. Yeah, I can't think there's too many people that are going to be too keen to see Shuty Gatwa back at any point in the future. I go and check him out there on Sunday with Laura Kusenberg. I think that's how it's pronounced. I think it's up to view on the iPlayer if you can't get enough Shuty Gatwa in your life. It's such a far cry from when we first saw this bloke. That was on Sunday as well, on the red carpet at the BAFTA TV Awards, something like that. 3.5 years ago, then he was howling his little head off, dressed like an absolute bellend as always. But back then, there was a certain amount of hope, I think, in the air, and a degree of excitement, certainly from me, at a fresh face, a new name, somebody I'd never heard of, and here we are all this time on, and how badly it's all gone at the other end of his era. I don't expect we'll be hearing a great deal from him anytime soon, but that's the good news. I'm very keen to put as much distance between that era and me as possible, and get back to where it's really at. I expect you pretty much feel the same. I mean, if his body was wearing a bit thin at 32, well, I don't believe a word of it, quite frankly. I don't think any of you do. Any of you do too. I think we need a couple of minutes to gather our thoughts after so much total and utter nonsense. We need a reminder of what real entertainment looks like. Go no further than the YouTube channel Cinescope Pictures, and this. Luke, I think you'll know a lot more about this than I do. This is the Type 40 Live ad break. Check this out.
You look like a man stuck in the past. I am late. Something came up. Happily, it's now been dealt with.
This is the Journal of H.G. Wells.
It is?
Last night you claimed you need to get back to 1895.
I do.
The time traveller, for so it will be convenient to speak of him, was expounding a recondite matter to us. His grey eyes shone and twinkled, his usually pale face was flushed and animated. The fire burned brightly, and the soft radiance of the incandescent lights of the lilies of silver caught the bubbles that flashed and passed in our glasses. Our chairs, being his patents, embraced and caressed us rather than submitted to be sat upon.
Characters do not traverse time.
No, and neither does H.G. Wells.
Welcome back to Type 40 live on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. Here with our early edition Mondays from 8 p.m. Right here in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions, just like you. The panel are back too. How they're looking? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, look better. Where are we, everybody? Hello. Welcome back. So yes, I've got Charlotte Shields, Gary Akers, Luke Walters, and Matt Potts back here for the first show of our new block, I'm happy to say. And yeah, people in the live chat joining in with the comments as well. Happy to be back and to see you all. It's like we've never been away, isn't it, Gary?
It's always great to be back with everybody. It's always it does feel no. I think Charlie mentioned it seems like we've only been gone a couple of days.
I'm not sure if he's pleased to see us back, but I was very pleased to see the full trailer there to I Made the Time Machine from Cinescope. Luke, wow. It looks so much fun. So people can watch this now in full, can't they, on YouTube?
Yes, so it's finally out. So it is about a disgruntled university lecturer who's stuck. He's stuck in a rut, and his life gets turned upside down when he visits a junkyard and finds a very Victorian-looking tweed-wearing, bow-tie-clad time traveller. But this time, it's not the Doctor; it's H.G. Wells, and it is played by none other than Big Finish's The War Doctor, Jonathan Carley himself. So this is the second of the trilogy. So we did so the same cast as well. So we've gone across. So we've done I Made War of the Worlds. We've just released I Made the Time Machine, and I believe in a month or two we're going to be finishing it off, and we're going to be doing I Made the Invisible Man.
Oh,
yeah, but yeah, you can go see. This is probably the closest. If you're a Big Finish fan and a War Doctor fan, probably the closest you will see to Mr. Jonathan Carley's live action Doctor, War Doctor. No, Doctor, no War Doctor. He'll castrate me for that. It's his version of a Doctor. He's playing time traveling tweed, of course, it is. So.
Got to be worth it. And all those awards there as well, Luke, for Cinescope Pictures and all your other productions too. You've been at various festivals, haven't you, and bashes over the recent months. Always good to see you come back with more bling, I suppose. And I'm sure that Hooligans, the movie, will do just as well. And people can check that out as well, can't they? We'll make sure the links are in the descriptions to all of that. And maybe we should do some sort of commentary at some point. I think that could be a laugh. We could all sit down and watch it. So
absolutely.
Oh yeah,
it's good stuff. Okay, so what next? More fun and games. Yeah, you wouldn't. I was going to say you wouldn't catch the classic Doctor Who cast behaving in such a way, but maybe you would.
Big Fraser, you would.
Most definitely. Okay, let's have another one of these.
Wow. I've never looked so good.
There you go,
I've never looked so good. That's you made my year. That's great.
Awesome stuff. Okay.
I do want to say really super quick, I did watch The Time Machine yesterday. really great job. Really enjoyable. Everybody go watch it. Highest recommendation. I'd love to spend all day in one of those university classes talking about the mechanics of time travel.
I think there's a lot of Doctor Who references in there. We have to strip it right back. There's a lot, yeah. The equation is from the classic series as well on the whiteboard. So if someone will pick up, I think it's from Time Monster, I believe. I think
it's what they call an Easter egg.
Yes,
an Easter egg.
Yes.
Maybe they've got some questions about some of that as well, because this is the part of the show that you may have been dreading or looking forward to dreading. I don't know. Ask us anything. Okay, this is something that we used to do way back, haven't done for a while, largely because most of us had sort of answered the same questions several times. But I have noticed as the show has expanded and as new people have found us here at Type 40 Live, we do get people practically every show asking us all manner of questions, not just about Doctor Who in the here and now, but about our fandoms, favourite doctors, favourite stories, favourite companions, all that kind of thing. When did you first this? When did you last buy whatever? Those are the kind of questions that people seem to always want to ask, not just us, but one another as well. So hit us with literally anything Doctor Who related. Keep it clean if you can, and we'll give you our honest answers right here and right now. Let's go and check out the live chat and see what they've got to say.
Where are these coming from?
Brilliant. Whoever did that, thanks.
Where are these coming from?
I don't want to know where they're coming from. I just love them.
Domgo is not a fan of Russell T Davies there in the live chat. Okay, what have you got for us, everybody? That is the question. Yes, because we've put this out on social media as well. Greetings and salutations, says Tony Farrell's TARDIS. Who else have we got here? Okay, now we have this question. First of all, this was sent in by, who was it? From the Watcher 1963. And this is quite a strange one. And this concerns the wilderness years, the dreaded wilderness years. Some people believe that we are about to experience the wilderness years round 2. I think that could be a little previous to assume that when we know so little. But I think it's also wise to be prepared for the worst, I suppose. Hiatus, wilderness, pause, all those kind of words, they're the kind of things that do make Doctor Who fans get a little uneasy. So we've had this question concerning the wilderness years, and it came from the Watcher 1963. I don't know who the Watcher is. Could be Russell T Davies. I hadn't thought of that. So the Watcher asks us, what special features would you like to see in a wilderness years collection box set? So I think what the Watcher's referring to there is the in the line of Blu-ray box sets there that they've been putting out since 2018. So what special features would you like to see in the Wilderness Years collection box set? Now, when I read this, I thought, what on earth is the Watcher talking about? Surely if we're talking about a box set here, potentially from when the series wasn't even on, so wouldn't it all the content be special features? Gary, what do you think? I mean, have you got an answer for this that's more in line with what the Watcher actually wants? Am I misunderstanding this?
Presumably it would have to be the absolute best version of the TV movie.
Does that count as Wilderness Years?
Yeah. I mean, Wilderness Years is anything, I think, from 89 to 2004. So, I mean, and presuming that rights weren't a problem, you'd have to get Curse of Fatal Death. You'd have to get stuff like the Sylvester and Sophie doing the Search Out Science thing. All of those kind of special, the Doctor Who night interstitials that were done, for those couple special Doctor Who nights with Gatiss and with whoever. Yeah. All of that stuff, assuming that rights weren't an issue, I think all the little special non-canon stuff from all those years in addition to the TV movie. That's what I'd put.
See, that's not how I mean, I do see what you're saying, but to me, all that stuff like Search Out Science would be it was an actual production in itself, so it wouldn't be a feature. It would be a special feature. It would be a main feature. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the nature of this. I have to be honest. I have no appetite for a box set of the Wilderness Years stuff at all. I think some of it could be commercially released and may sell quite well in its own right. But I think this has mystified me. A lot of people do seem to want it. I just don't understand. I don't see how that would sit well with my OCD, with all my Blu-rays lined up. Matt, I mean, is it just me? What do you think?
Sorry, I'm eating a scone.
That's his answer.
And he said it correctly.
Anyway, no.
Done.
I've finished. So, or scone, wherever you're from. Well, I have been thinking about this one, and I would be really interested because since I've started here on Type 40, I never knew that they had actually tried to develop a cartoon series from Nirvana.
Oh yeah,
back in the early 90s. I would absolutely love a documentary with all the background animators and that worked at Nirvana at the time, on those that worked on that project. I never even heard about it until it was on Type 40. So when I look back on it, I was like, wow, the designs were very Star Wars droids, sort of Ewok-y sort of thing, and I really, because they produced those series.
No, you've won me over with this now. I'm starting to regret my earlier answer.
I'd really be interested in that documentary because it has never ever been mentioned, like, officially. So I'm just, I was flabbergasted. I think Simon mentioned it, and I was like, cartoon series.
I was aware of it at the time. I think it was around 1991. But we never saw any pictures of it for years and years and years. It was like the Coast to Coast movie that was meant to star at one point everybody from Donald Sutherland to John Cleese.
That's right.
We never saw anything really connected with it. It was all kept within the industry while they tried to generate interest, Luke, and get sort of investors and backers and things like that. We'd get a column in fanzines, some of the cheaper fanzines or some of the glossier fanzines. But and they did brilliant work bringing us what they could of that. But I think Doctor Who magazine eventually covered it again a little bit, but they couldn't really say anything. So up until recently, I mean, Matt's quite right. All of this stuff was locked away.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt, go on.
No. I was just saying, it's just one of those things that has been buried for so long, and I mean, if it wasn't for a couple of years ago and this show, I wouldn't even know about it. So it's just there's so much. I know there's so much more Doctor Who stuff in the Wilderness Years that hasn't been like let out of the bag, sort of thing. And these things that are trickling out, especially the cartoon series where I have an interest, I'd love it. I just love it.
Yeah, you could sort of have this idea of looking at projects that never took off, that would sort of started, but never
development
got to that.
hell.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That could be really interesting. Like you said, like development hell, or just things that were even an idea, and maybe just that whole thing of that can be your whole topic of a documentary.
I'd love to see a really super long
after full start.
Well, I'd love to see like a super long, like hour-long, really well done feature all about the Dark Dimension, which was the original like 30th anniversary thing that got deep sixed at some point. But I'd love to learn all about that. And Dan, you wouldn't like to see like a behind the sofa thing with Janet Fielden and all of them talking about dimensions and time? Come on, that'd be hilarious.
I would, I would. To be truthful, I mean, we've got several people in the live chat have mentioned dimensions in time, and obviously we've come around to this question again quite a lot because it's not and never has been commercially available. We know the reasons why. Yeah. The arrangement that was made with the performers, the artists, the actors, all of the talent at the time on both EastEnders and Doctor Who meant that it couldn't be repeated, never mind commercially exploited. This is something we're all well aware of, but it's understandable that after 3 decades, you think, well, maybe there could be a crack appear somewhere, or certainly if we can't have the special itself, there's no reason why we couldn't have. They could play it to Janet and various other people, and film their reactions. We don't. We don't have to. We don't have to see it. Garbage says the Wilderness Years box set just doesn't have a ring to it. Not to me. Ezra Goldstein suggests the Stranger series with Colin Baker. Obviously, these things were produced by they were made by BBV, weren't they?
That's right.
So perhaps
Get all the
BBV
BBV stuff on there. Absolutely, that was my show. Get that stuff on there.
There's a
I like all of that.
There's a fantastic documentary that I saw on video VHS, but I haven't seen it anywhere else, and it was called The Doctors. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but it was just like Peter Davison walking through a bush, like a forest type thing. Just
he was at the location for Mordred Undead. He was back there with Mark Strickson, wasn't he, for an interview?
Right. Yeah.
So there was him. John Nathan Turner was part of it as well.
Oh, they were all. That was the thing. John Pertwee, everyone. And I really, I don't know how many times.
That was Adrian. I think that was Adrian Rigglesford, right?
Well, it was sold on the principle that it was based on a book. That documentary, the book, it was called again "The Doctors" from Box Tree Books, which was put out for the 30th anniversary. It's an okay book in and of itself, but I agree that documentary is fascinating. It is available on DVD, or at least it was. Very, very low quality from a minor label, and so minor, in fact, that copies of that eventually turned up in pound shops in Britain. But that's going back quite a long time, and the picture quality was really, really quite bad. So, I think they could probably get hold of that and put it out, because some of the footage of JNT speaking in that, they go to Brighton and they interview him in a cafeteria, Charlotte, not far from his home. And he speaks very candidly about the mistakes that he made, some of the negative experiences
he
that he had
literally
associated.
says Colin Baker was a mistake in that documentary. And I was shocked because
I don't remember that. I think he expressed quite a lot of regret about how he holds his hands up, I think, in that for the first time, that he handled Colin's departure from the role really badly. He was really self-effacing in that, in a way that I don't. But that footage has turned up on box sets, so clearly it can be bought. Perhaps it could be put on a set like that in full.
I think though, depending on how much was on it, because you haven't got like a full series, like the episodes and all the work that goes into those, like the other collections, this would have to be a very, I would argue, sort of limited sort of release maybe, or make it a little bit cheaper because it's not got the episodes like the other collection box sets. I think they'd have to do a little bit of a concession that way if they ever did one of these.
You could get the Doctor Who Am I documentary. You could put that on there as well. Potentially include that, which is a very good watch if anyone's seen it. So
it's really kind of risky though, because I think that everybody would have like a laundry list of things they'd want on. So you're going to have to deal with everybody going, but what about, why didn't you include? You missed this,
project,
and you would really not please anybody with this because for whatever reason.
Fly Highland mentions Sylvester McCoy's performance appearance on the Noel Edmonds show. Now, I know exactly which show Fly Highland means. I don't think that would count as the Wilderness Years, though, because it happened in 1988 when he was on Noel Edmonds' Saturday Roadshow in the Clown Court segment. So I don't think you could include that. I have it. I think it's probably on one of the box sets. I have it on my original recordings off air. I made all of these recordings across. There's about 6 or 7 DVDs for. Those are taken from my original VHSs that I recorded from 1984 right the way through until Doctor Who came back in 2004. Every interview or feature that I could find off Breakfast TV, some of them have turned up on the DVDs and the Blu-rays, but some of them haven't. There's a lot of little treasures in here. There were little bits and pieces that I missed when I was at school and things like that. But there's some good stuff on these. I'd like to see some of it come. But that Saturday Roadshow stuff is on these discs of mine, taken from my original VHSs. So I'm pretty sure they wouldn't count as wilderness years, but you never know.
Yeah.
Don't forget Dimensions in Time, says Zach Wilton. I don't think anybody could. More asking for the Stranger series. The Stranger stuff is quite readily available, though.
Yeah.
BBV exploit that. It's not hard to find. It's not hard to find at all. Let's get some more questions. I think let's get some more questions.
Yep.
What else have we got here? Brian Ferry funded the Coast to Coast version movie. I think that was probably a bit of a myth. There were so many myths built up around that film. It was crazy. People were so invested in it, and eventually, we found that most of them were complete and utter nonsense. Domgo asks us this question. Look, we've spent the last 3 months answering this question. Is Doctor Who on the telly dead? I think we can maybe talk about something else, Domgo. But let's have some one-word answers. Charlotte, is Doctor Who on the telly dead?
Currently, yes, but it will come back.
Gary?
What Charlotte said. I agree.
Matt?
For the foreseeable future.
Luke?
No.
And my answer would also be no. Thank you, Domgo. Richard asks, who would you pick to play the Doctor? So I was expecting this one, given the fact that the part is pretty much up for grabs. This is something I think that most fans think about almost constantly, whether the part is vacant or not. Charlotte, obviously originated by the late, great William Hartnell, Hartnell first, each and every time. The man who set that high bar and brought the character to life for the very first time, and his successor, Patrick Troughton, who innovated early on so beautifully and undoubtedly ensured the show's continuation in that way. But who would you look at now to pick up the mantle?
Ooh.
There seem to be more shows than ever, more streaming platforms than ever, therefore more shows in production from all over the world technically. And yet I think it's a harder question to answer than ever. Charlotte, anybody on your mind?
There's an obvious one that people know in the chat. They know me. And Stephen's already said it. So there's the obvious one, which is Jonathan Bailey. But I'm trying to think of somebody else I haven't spoken about as much. I think I need to know the actor's name off my head. I want to say he's Tom Burke, I think is the actor's name.
Oh, from Strike?
Yes, he's the detective in Strike.
Right, okay,
And then I
Right
also saw him years before in the BBC Musketeer show, because he was Athos in that.
He'd be very intense.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think if he got it, I think he's very good at being, like I said, that intense sort of authority. That's what I loved about him with Athos. I think to play that character, if you know the books, you have to sort of buy that he's an ex-lord, that he's nobility, and he played that brilliantly. And then with Strike, he sort of showed, like you said, that darker edge with the character of Strike.
Yeah.
Sort of the ex-soldier aspect, he'd played really well in that. And but then for all the sort of dark and the authority, he's quite witty. He can do one-liners quite well. And that's
I really like this actor.
So I think he would be a more reasonable name they could possibly get, because he's worked.
Well, he's been
with
around
BBC.
for years. He was on Russell T Davies' Casanova with David Tennant and Matt Lucas when he was a lot younger. He's a very physically capable actor, and yet he doesn't look like the choices I think that we've had since the show came back. I mean, you could say that he's similar to Christopher Eccleston, maybe, but I think he's more enigmatic than Eccleston. I've seen him play so many different kinds of characters. That's a brilliant choice.
He's a bit of a chameleon, Burke, and he can sort of shift. And also he can play old, but he doesn't look it. That's the other thing that I think whoever they pick next.
He's always got the wild hair, hasn't he, and the mad look in his eye.
Yeah, I think whoever they pick next has to sort of have that ability to be old and sort of, like I said, authority, but not show it on the face as much, because that's sort of the contradiction of the actor. So I think, like I said, my dream is Bailey, but the more reasonable choice I would go with is Burke.
I love that choice. Luke, have you got one?
Ewan Rion.
So where will people have seen him? Game of Thrones, Vicious, what else?
Game of Thrones, Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones, Simon from Misfits. Go watch him in Misfits. You'll see him very quiet, very brooding. Then he's very comedic. Then he's dramatic. Then he's very much an old soul, and he's also in Wolf as well with Sacha Dhawan, and they inadvertently they start slagging off Doctor Who in a car, which is quite funny. And I think it was Moffat's production company made it actually, which is ironic. But yes, Ewan Rion. As let's say Liven's Flame. I like the Welsh lad when he was in Misfits, very alien. Yeah, Ewan Rion is my choice. I would have, absolutely.
Garbage reminds us: if no one says a woman, you are all sexists.
For Billy Piper to keep going, I'm more than happy for Billy to keep going. So,
Matt, have you got anybody you've got your eye on recently? You've noticed. We know you've got an eye for Shuty Gatwa's body, but other than that, are there any actors for their acting talents that have made your radar, mate? Go on, mate. Let us into your confidence. Who have you got your eye on?
Well, I really think that we need to bring masculinity back into the show.
I would agree.
Don't tell Russell.
No, and so we also need to get eyeballs back on the screen, and I think. I know this is going to be I'm not into the whole British television sphere recently, but as far as British actors, it has to be a British actor, and I really feel like Tom Hardy would be my go-to. I would be so interested in that. I think he can play. He can play different types than just, he doesn't really do action man roles a lot. But he is he has that Tom Baker sort of just, intenseness sometimes, and then he can just not be so intense.
He always feels like he's containing. So, I've spent so many years listening to people mentioning his name in connection with Bond. I don't think I've ever once thought about what kind of Doctor Who he'd make.
Because he's not your typical actor that you've got in your. I think he'd be a bit like an Eccleston again.
A lot of people are surprised that he's in Star Trek. When it was actually his first role, movie film role in Insurrection, wasn't it?
Nemesis.
Oh, Nemesis. I'm sorry. Yes, Nemesis. So he is.
He was the Picard clone in Nemesis.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, because I was telling my friend who's a big Star Trek fan and I said, "Oh yeah, Tom Hardy's in that film," and he goes, "Is he?" As well, and he's like, I'm like, "Yeah, you look," and he's like, "You're bloody right, that is him." I said, "Yeah, he's got a false nose, but other than that,
Zach likes the idea, but he thinks he could be out of the BBC's league. He has worked for the BBC.
This is
before,
why they need someone. They need someone really big. I'm sorry. They need someone with presence, and they need someone who can act. And they also need someone who can be a bit more manly than what we've been getting the last 8 years. It's just...
He's got an alien. He has got an alien quality. He has got an otherworldly sort of aspect to him, as if he's not one of us.
So I think I agree with Matt completely. I think it needs to be somebody who's got a built-in almost trust, that as soon as you hear the name, you go, "Ooh, they could be good." Like that sort of reaction. Who you go, "Right, I've seen them in this and this and this."
He's not a joke when they cast him. It's not like Nicolas Cage. It's like, oh, Nicolas Cage's new film. It's a joke every time.
Nick Cage is the Doctor. I'd watch that.
I would, to be fair.
I think that our friend Chris Bowles would be all over that as well. How about you, Gary? Have you got anybody that you've got an eye on?
I actually only have one person that I'm moving all my chips into one square, and this is not going to surprise Dan because I mentioned this to him a while ago. I was watching the new Acorn series called Art Detectives with Stephen Moyer, and he used to be on True Blood. And the second episode, whether it was a combination of what he was wearing or his demeanor, I go, this guy would make a brilliant Doctor. Even if he played it like he's playing it on this show, he would be absolutely brilliant. And I got on the chat to Sarah. I said, Sarah, I have this guy that I think he would make a brilliant doctor. Watch these couple of episodes and tell me what you think. And then she watched it. She was like, absolutely agree. She loves Stephen Moyer anyway from True Blood. But she said, boy, yeah, he would make a brilliant detective. So the way he plays it, the way he looks with the vest and the kind of multi-layer thing with the coat and everything, and he plays it, like he, not arrogantly, but he knows a little bit more than everybody, and he has the right demeanor. And the young woman who is playing his kind of partner in the show
companion
is kind of like what if they would have done. It's going to sound like I'm joking, but I'm totally honest. If you took the character of Yaz, the young policewoman, but did it correctly and did it seriously, it would be kind of like the way she plays it on the show. He's my only choice. I think he would be absolutely brilliant. So
a lot of support for Stephen Moyer in the live chat.
Yeah.
Jess agrees with you completely. And I like this comment as well from Five. I'm going to have to call you. Still Dan Stevens for me, says them. And I agree, Dan Stevens would make a terrific doctor. There is somebody who's been on my mind a little lately. Who would I pick to play the doctor? And I can't believe I'd not noticed
Go on.
it before.
I think we might be on the same track here. Yeah, go on.
Well, it's now I'm not a massive fan of either the books or even the movies of Harry Potter, but I think Tom Felton, who played Draco Malfoy, has grown to be a very versatile, charismatic adult actor. He's obviously a very good-looking man, but he's very capable of appearing sort of menacing in the same way that when Peter Capaldi dialed it back and you weren't quite sure what was on his mind. I think Tom Felton would make a fantastic Doctor Who. I've seen him in other things, other character parts, and do other genre television too. He was in the Flash, I think, for a little while, the DC show, and I'm a big DC fan, as you probably know. But recently he's returning to this role on the stage. And when I saw him in this promotional picture for the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child stage play, where he's returning to the role of Draco, I thought, wow, doesn't he look like almost Troughton-esque? I don't know what it is. I mean, Tom Felton, I can't believe I hadn't seen it earlier. So this would be, right now, this would be my pick. Any other takers?
I think he'd be more like the Master, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it'd be interesting. Is he really blonde? Is he really blonde or okay?
No, not in real life.
He's not bleach blonde. No.
Every time I've seen him,
because, like I said, I grew up with the Harry Potter movies, but I've not seen a lot of his adult acting. Like when it would, so no, he was in Logan apparently, and I never got around to watching that.
Planet of the Apes.
People said he was really good
in that.
Really? Because he played
Planet of the Apes.
Well, apparently in Logan he played a semi sort of bad guy. So people were saying actually no, he was quite convincing in that role. So I've heard he's done really good work. I've just not got around to watching it.
Every time I see him, I just think of him going Potter. It's just in my head all the time. Potter.
James Nesbitt. I
still like James Nesbitt. I think he is too old now.
He's past it, but I rewatched Jekyll not so long ago, and I was like, oh man, they missed it.
Oh,
that was done when Doctor Who first really before Stephen Moffat had.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Let's take another question. Zach Witten asks, when did you last buy Doctor Who magazine? I bought it 3 or 4 weeks ago. I think there's a new one out maybe this week, so I always buy it. I've been buying it since 1980. So yeah, I'm a completist when it comes to Doctor Who magazine. I don't miss it. Who else buys Doctor Who magazine? When did you last buy it, Matt?
Well, the last time I bought it was about Jodie Whittaker was in the role. It was just on her way out, and it was for Bart. I didn't buy it because she was in it. I got the special. You know how they have those specials that they come out?
Mm-hmm.
So I got the set design one because the majority of it was the set designs from the classic era. So, and it was a lot of it I hadn't seen because they haven't released a book with just set design. So this was the first time I'd really got to see a lot of. I love that sort of stuff. The same stuff with like there's a James Bond one as well, and set designs and all that. So this is the first time I got to see a lot of the background stuff. You know, like Zygons and all that sort of stuff. So that sort of stuff I was really interested in. That was the last one I got. I don't know what year that was. I think it was about 2019, 2020. But it's not available now in any of our newsagents now at all. They've gotten rid of everything. So it's just selling, you know, cards and gifts now because they just don't sell. Magazines don't sell anymore, sadly. And Doctor Who, one time I went in there to actually ask them because I was waiting. The Dalek ones were coming out, the special editions and stuff that they had. You know, the Panini.
Those specials are far better than the regular magazines.
Yeah.
Certainly better value for money.
I really wanted those, and I was hoping that they'd actually have them in the newsagents. And when I went up to the counter and I said to the lady, "Do you have Doctor Who magazine?" And she said, "Oh, yeah, that used to be really popular once, didn't it?" You know? And I was like, yeah, it did. And I just felt so deflated.
Yeah.
But this was a newsagent that had it for like 45 years, you know? And it was always on the expensive side. And then all of a sudden it's just gone, you know? And it's like, oh, that's so sad.
How about you, Gary?
I used to, like you, I used to get it religiously, started petering out at the beginning of the Jody era. I bought a couple of issues around the 60th, the one with all the magazines strewn around the console room on the cover. But I do buy the bookazines. I actually just got the Cyberman one, the new Cyberman one last week, which is really good because whoever is producing those is not whoever's working on the magazine, because those are really like top quality.
I think it's Marcus Hearn who puts those together.
Those are like top, and then those Chronicles ones, which each featured like a year, like 1985 or 1975 or whatever. Those specials, really, really well done, and are miles better than the actual monthly magazine, which is just too whatever.
It's wishy-washy, I think, and inconsistent in its content. When they have a good month, it's a really, really good month, but they tend to have more mediocre months than good months. And with an inflated cover price, like all magazines, to be fair, it's not necessarily that much more expensive than a great many other magazines. It's still harder to justify in a cost of living crisis. Luke, do you buy the magazine? I was going to say the monthly then.
Yeah, well, the last one I bought was that one, which is conveniently on my beer fridge, which has beers on it. Yeah, I only bought it because the book come with it. Is it the Wheel in Space, the Target novelization?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
This is the last one I bought.
Yeah, the only image of Billy Piper. Yeah, no, I bought that. I think I got one. Do you remember the one where they did the live recording of Big Finish and Paul McGann, all them down in London, and there's a photo of him on the TARDIS console, and which is the cover of it. I bought it because I liked the cover, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, unless it comes with a book or something, I don't really tend to buy them anymore. When I was younger, I used to, back in the day, was an avid fan of it. Then, yeah, as time goes on, it just went. And now, if it's a special edition with the Target novelization, I'm all over it. So I think for a tenner, I want a book with it. Jeez, that's well expensive.
I think so. Sometimes when they bag it up and put something with it and jack the price up even more, it's harder to justify. Stephen says, don't bother with Doctor Who magazine, too expensive. And I remember buying Doctor Who Weekly's first issue way back when it came out in October of 1979. My first issue was Doctor Who Weekly, I think it was number 7, something like that. And I got it whenever I could. But it was in the following year. So it was about to become a monthly when I finally persuaded a family member to have a word with a newsagent to keep it for me every time. Charlotte, have you ever bought the magazine or picked out a special? When was the last time you picked one up?
Well, I've never bought one, but Sarah, for my birthday last time, she actually got me a proper Doctor Who magazine from the year I was born and the month I was born.
Oh, wow.
That's
So
really
she
lovely.
couldn't get it. She even said to me after, she goes,
Really
I couldn't
lovely.
get it to the day. I was like, really?
Aw.
So it's like bagged up and it looks like it's a proper one. But yeah, it's like that's
Who's
what's-
on the
so
cover?
that's
Who's on the cover?
it's got the brig on it and like unit.
Oh,
and I think
that's
it's a
cool.
bit of a Christmassy issue because it's November. So yeah, that's the one I technically have because it was a present that the lovely Sarah got for me.
That's a great
That's
gift.
cool. Yeah, that's great.
Really, really nice. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's everybody who's answered that question. When did you last buy Doctor Who magazine? Thank you again for that one, Zach. And we've got Stephen O'Neill, ask, what is the panel's favourite? We've got people asking to name out 5 or 10 favourite stories. That's an entire show. Come on. But I think we can answer Stephen O'Neill's question. Have you got a favourite classic Doctor Who story? Gary's nodding his head. Go on.
Inferno. It's always been Inferno. Nothing has ever unseated Inferno at my number 1 spot.
So we say nothing has ever. How long has it been your favourite? Because my favourite changes, but yours doesn't. It's always been Inferno.
Well, I mean, that's my favorite overall. I have favorites for each Doctor, but you know, I was just so blown away by Inferno that it's just, and they never did another story like it. It's unique in the truest sense. Yeah.
Very, very true. Have you got a favourite classic story, Charlotte?
I'm going through Troughton stories in my head right now because he's my favourite classic Doctor. Tomb is always up there. It's always one I can watch because I think there's a reason that story resonates because it's the purest sort of version of the Cybermen because it's their first one. And those designs, you'll never get better than the original Mondasian. And I think what I adore so much about that story is it's real fear. Like, you can see it on the actors' faces when they see them, the way it's written, and the moment with Troughton when he's comforting the companion, and he's sort of being that, and that's what I've always said about Troughton. I think where I connect with him so much is for all the silliness and the childish and the sort of I'm going to be the Joker sort of the pack sort of mentality he had. He was so gentle and compassionate, and he knew just when to sort of drop all that. And he was like, no, I need to comfort her. I need to be that sort of voice of reason and wisdom. So Tomb is one that instantly always comes to mind, but there'll be others. I'm like you, I don't really have one set story, but Tomb is sort of really up there for me.
There's no one in the universe can do what we're doing.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, it does. Just thinking about that line. Yeah, this face, the lines on that face. Patrick Troughton, what a star, what a Doctor. How about you, Luke? I know that the classic series. You said the classic series is where your heart lies. Can you possibly pick a favorite classic Doctor Who story?
Yeah, I think for me it's between 2. It's 3 Doctors and Green Death. So I think, Green Death is what first got me into Doctor Who because obviously the chat's going to absolutely rinse me because they're like, oh, more Wales. But that's what got me into it. When I first watched Doctor Who, my father showed me. He was like, oh, well, I went on set and I was around because they were filmed not too far away from where I live. And he was like, oh, it's this one. So he managed to show me somehow. And I was just like, oh my God, I was enthralled by it. And then the 3 Doctors as well. I think that was the first Doctor Who DVD I bought, was the 3 Doctors. And I watched it to death. So those are my 2. So depending on what day of the week it is, what side of the bed you wake up on, it fits between the 2.
I'm exactly the same with this. It's such a hard question. Impossible, really, in some respects, to answer. I think you've got to go sort of where you feel in any given moment. You got an answer for this one, Matt?
Yeah. Do I have an answer? Yes, I do. So it's not popular opinion. It's totally different to everybody else's. I realized I was a fan of Doctor Who when I was 4 years old and I watched the Android Invasion. And that was the first time I ever had a response of I actually had the feeling, 'cause when you're 4 years old, you don't have any really responses or anything like that, and you're like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
this is happening and this is happening and oh, what's next? You know, and this to me was just a special story for me, and I will always go back to it and watch it with fresh eyes. And
It's just having a light show.
Yeah.
Even thinking about it, I just love it. You know,
I think the
it was just
little people. I think the little people have
it-
come to take Luke away and probe him with something.
It was just the it really showed him like I felt emotion for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's just in that story, and I can watch it to the day that I die. I really can, and I don't care what anyone says about it negatively. I love it to bits. But that, and the first time watching The Invasion with Patrick Troughton, I did not like. I was determined not to like Patrick Troughton. I had never seen any of his stories, but I was like, oh, he's the least favorite Doctor. And then when I watched The Invasion, I fell in love with Patrick Troughton. And that actually, because I didn't get to see it until it was out on DVD, we never had the videos. The videos were always very expensive here, so I never owned any of the VHS. And to me, this was just an absolute gem. And I would, if anyone is ever negative about black and white Doctor Who, I will make them watch this episode, like this serial, because it's just that damn good. And I'm like, I really miss that sort of, you know, that feeling. That was the first time in a long time I had felt like, you know, I was watching new Doctor Who, even though it was old. You know, so
have I got a favorite? Have I got a favorite classic story? That was the question, wasn't it? Like, I do find this question transient, shall we say, depending on your mood, and obviously, I think depending on the kind of the point you are at in your life as well. I think most classic Doctor Who stories have something extra to see on multiple viewings. I think a lot of New Who is similar to that. But childhood, obviously, by its very nature, is so formative, and it tends to dig the deepest, doesn't it? So for me, my favourite classic Doctor Who story, the one that when I think about it, it sends shivers up my spine, is still Snake Dance. I would say that is my favourite classic story from 1983, the Fifth Doctor's era. Dead in the middle of season 20. Well, Delta and the Bannerman is a very it's up there. But my personal, I'm not talking about the best. I'm talking about my favourite. This is my favourite classic Doctor Who story. Today it's Snake Dance for multiple reasons. I like the atmosphere, the performances, and I don't usually like classic Doctor Who stories that haven't got any location filming involved. And there was, I know there was some stuff that was filmed. A shot on film at Elstree with Preston Lockwood as Dogen, but aside from that, there's nothing outdoors. It's very contained, very claustrophobic, and I get a little bit frustrated that, for a time, certainly, all that anybody ever seemed to remember about Snake Dance or talk about was the tunic that Martin Clunes was wearing, and that Martin Clunes was in it at all. It's desperately unfair. I think it's an incredible story, very, very powerful. Possibly Peter Davison's finest hour. And yeah, I do include Caves of Androzani when I say that. Very, very underrated.
It's a good one.
I was going to say, what's impressive, we've all picked different ones. I'm a bit amazed about that.
There is 160 of them. But yeah.
I love the final scene. I love the final scene in Snake Dance where he has his arm around Tegan because she's all distraught.
Even that stood out at the time. At the time, obviously, I was a little kid when I first saw that, and it wasn't how I was used to Doctor Who stories ending. Usually, they weren't always happy endings, but there would usually be a tone whereby you'd see everybody get back into the TARDIS and vanish, and sometimes there'd be people there waving them off. Other times they'd slip away. That didn't happen this time. It was quite unnerving, and obviously Tegan is very visibly mentally and physically drained. The Doctor as well. and then it just ends. We pick up sometime later. So yeah, I think it all combines. It's all in there, but that's the one for me right now. That's my favourite classic Doctor Who story. We've got a question here from Darren Bradley. What's the panel's most personally embarrassing moment involving Doctor Who? Mine is possibly standing having a piss next to Sylvester McCoy. Says Darren. Where were you on a motorway lay-by somewhere, a central reservation, or were you in the gents? Were you on a night out with
public
Sylvester?
toilets.
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. What's the most personally embarrassing moment involving Doctor Who? You got an answer for this, Luke?
I have, but I'm not saying it online. No, I just clicked on what it was. I was like, do I? Yes, I do. Yes. No, I'm not going to, because I'll get ridiculed for it. But it involves a Dalek, a TARDIS, and an exorcism. I'll just leave it at that, okay? Full-size TARDIS, full-size Dalek, and an exorcism.
They'll know what you're talking about, but we'll just have to put the pieces together ourselves. Matt, have you got an answer for this? Your most personally embarrassing moment involving Doctor Who?
Yeah, I told Sophie Aldred I had a crush on her.
Good for you, dude.
Yeah, no, it was like, and I, she was like, wasn't that sweet? And I'm like, yeah, and I still do. And she was like, oh. She started freaking out. And Paul McGann and that was sitting next to her, and they're going, "Are you okay, Sophie? Are you okay?" Yeah. So, anyway, I don't regret it.
No, you got to take your shot when you can, pal.
That's right.
Yeah. You don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah. Got to tell your crush.
Who dares wins. You know?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I think that.
Oh dear. What's your most personally embarrassing Doctor Who moment? Have you got an answer for this, Gary?
Probably when I was served with the restraining order after that incident with Jenna Coleman at a Gallifrey convention. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I don't know. I mean, it probably involves one of the times when I was on Type 40, probably.
At least he's honest, everybody. At least he's honest.
Oh, you know what it was? It happened, I think, about a month ago when I was answering something in the chat, and I came up with some realization I thought was like so cool, and I mentioned it, and Matt quite rightly called me on it. He said, we mentioned that like 10 minutes ago. And I was just like, oh, that's right.
It was literally 5 minutes.
It was 5 minutes ago. And so that's
what we're actually talking about. You got to the end of it, and then you said, oh, I've just had a realization.
So it was when Matt was calling me on the fact that I didn't remember what was mentioned 5 minutes before. That was
I was very irritable that morning.
That's my most
in the live chat, Stephen Braddock said he once told Liz Sladen I loved her as a kid, and she kissed me, and I went as red as a tomato. I think that is. Ian Scales told Matthew Waterhouse backstage to be quiet. I only realised it was him when the lights went up. Oh dear. Luke will have to guess. The imaginations are whirling there in the live chat. We'll never know.
To be fair, Rob from Hooligans, when we were at Hooverville last year, he asked Katie Manning to go to a Wetherspoons with him. So that was, she said she'd rather eat a lino than have Wetherspoons food, and she's vegan or veggie. That was awful. Yeah. But again, I was violently hungover.
We've got our friend Ashbin in the live chat who confesses, as a kid, I pretended I was the Doctor at a party. I took my friend and we hid in a cupboard. I got stuck in there and the girl started crying. But Ashbin remained in character.
Good for you, mate.
Commit to the role.
And I just have to say, all credit, I don't know if you were going to put this up, Dan, all credit to Stephen Braddock, who remembers the moment at the end of the show with Dan, myself, David Milling, and Matt, when Matt didn't have his muter on his mic, and something happened, and that was the moment when he burped on air, and that is, I think, actually his proudest moment, not his most embarrassing moment.
Own it.
Yeah, it is
Own
my
it.
most proudest. You're right. that come guttural, that was.
Have you got a most personally embarrassing moment involving Doctor Who,
I'm
Charlotte?
glad Charlotte wasn't around either.
No, I'd gone at that point. Well, I had a string of really unfortunate phrasing of words for a couple of weeks, didn't I? I think one stream I said something to do with dads, and I didn't think of the word I used beforehand. People will probably remind me. And then Luke was like chuckling his head off because I hadn't realised the way I'd phrased my wording. And then afterwards was like, you do realise what you actually said, Charlotte. What did I say to do with dads? Did I say, like, we've not...
Wasn't Shar on that show? She'll remember.
She was in the chat.
Oh, David just, it's just me and David. David just sets me off. He just does, bless him. Absolutely adore.
And then in the other week...
blame David because he's not here.
Yep,
and
very
then
much,
I think the week before, like, because people know I disappear at 10, and me and Anthony, I said something like, oh, we're both going off now, or something like that. And then it sounded really dodgy. So
you said, we're both going to bed now. It was Anthony. It was Anthony. Yeah.
Without thinking,
I saw the look on your face.
I've had that, and like I said, there was a dad comment. I said something like, "Oh, they've not used dads, or they've not something dads," saying like,
"Yeah, I remember this."
And it was like, that was a bit dodgy phrasing. So I've had that a few times.
The people scooching back through our back catalogue now to find out which show that was. What's the panel's most embarrassing moment involving Doctor Who? Oh, Rosie. I don't know. Could it be Rosie the House Dalek? It's probably something to do with her. I haven't really got one. Personally, I haven't really got one. But I think the thing is, I mean, I was constantly embarrassed, you could say, as a child, as a Doctor Who fan, in the mid to late 80s particularly, because Doctor Who was so desperately unpopular. And I was never bullied at school. I won't lay claim to ever being bullied at school, but I was mercilessly teased over the Doctor Who thing. And I never gave a fuck either. And I still don't. I quite regularly say I don't do guilty pleasures. If I like a film, for example, or a bit of music, a big Bucks Fizz fan here, Shaking Stevens, all that stuff. And I will tell you why I like them. And I don't care whether the other party doesn't feel the way I do or how they react. I don't do guilty pleasures. If you sincerely want to know why I like something, same as if you sincerely want to know why I don't like something, I will explain to you. I will explain to you why in that kind of manner. So I haven't really been embarrassed by Doctor Who in any way since childhood, and I've never put myself in a situation where I felt embarrassed. I've made plenty of cock-ups, they're all on this bloody show, and obviously covering conventions and stuff, which we've been doing recently. Some of that has gone better than others, but I've never been embarrassed by any of it. I sort of lived in the moment and enjoyed it for what it was, really, and thought how great it is to do that thing and to to laugh it off. So I haven't really gone. I think the childhood stuff, the teenage years would be it, and it's never kept me awake at night, but it was pretty merciless because, as I said earlier on, everybody hated Doctor Who publicly back then, and I'm not as down on the McCoy era as it may appear, but to be a fan around that time was rough. It really was rough. So I hope that answers your question there, Darren. Thank you for that. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, having a piss next to Sylvester McCoy. That's a good one. Did he look down, though? That's the thing. He just looks across. He's quite short.
Yeah, he's like...
but I'm...
And I would say it is 10, and we've got a little moment, so I'll say good night to everybody.
Okay,
good night, Charlotte. It's
Goodbye,
great
Charlotte.
to have you back.
You're going to go, Charlotte. Bye.
See you for more next time,
See you
undoubtedly. Take care. Duncan Funky is back in the days of the 90s when I had to hide copies of Doctor Who magazine inside a dirty box.
Wow.
In Funky's case, you pop it in the center pages of Nave, maybe, and take both to the counter and just flip it open so that the cashier could scan both. Yeah, we've all been
That's
there.
what they're doing now, isn't it?
Could be. Could be. Nothing wrong with Bucks Fist,
Bucks
Stephen
Fist,
Braddock. Plenty of people. I know there's lots of people were bullied over Doctor Who. Several people we've had on the show, panelists and guests have confided that too.
I only had it with the new Who, like the latest with the female Doctor. That was the only time I was bullied.
I think you got Nicholas Horton says, Mr. Potts, Potty Pot.
Pot. Okay.
It's like somebody else is on the source as well, very clearly. Matt, what about the burping on hair? So Steve,
there you go.
Yeah, but they were asking a question for Doctor Who related, and I was like,
well, you were on type 40.
Type 40. Yeah, but like it didn't say what was the type of 40 incident that you had. It was a malfunction. It was a device malfunction because I had new devices, and the mute button had been switched around.
It was.
So I thought I'd muted it, but I didn't. So when I reached down to
Let's finish off with this one from Ezra Goldstein. I have one question for the entire panel. When did you first see Doctor Who? Luke, how about you?
2000, I think it was 2005. It was the new series. It was the Eccleston series that got me into it. I saw the trailer. I didn't start with Rose. I think I come midway through, I think. And then when I started watching, I think my first one was Dalek. Oh, very good. You're very good at this. I think it was Dalek, and that's when my father and my uncle were like, "Oh, we used to watch this. Here's Green Death and blah blah." So I think it was Dalek I first picked up on. So because I was just like, "What is this old tat?" When it first come on, I was like, "Nah, I'm into wrestling. I like John Cena." And then I watched Dalek, and I was like, "This is really good." And then from then, so Dalek was my first one, and then Green Death.
Wow.
That's a great first episode, isn't it, Gary? How about you?
Local Los Angeles PBS station, episode 1 of Doctor Who and the Silurians. And my life has never been the same.
Even remember it down to the which channel you watched it on?
Absolutely. It was 7:30 on Tuesday night.
Wow. Have you ever managed to circle the actual date?
I'm gonna have to dig that out, but I think I'm gonna have to consult like old TV listings or something, but I'm certain that I can.
They were screened in such
they
rotation.
used to run like a lot of British stuff, like in one night. Like they would run that, they would run Monty Python, they would run all their kind of British stuff on the same night.
Yeah, you had a similar deal in Australia, didn't you, Matt, with blocks of programming always in rotation? Doctor Who was on most days, wasn't it? So do you remember when you first?
Constantly in rotation, constantly. So there was nothing else. It was just Pertwee and then Tom Baker, then Pertwee, then Tom Baker. 1979, I can tell you where I was. I used to share a room. My siblings are all older than me, at least 10 years older than me. So I was the youngest. I remember sitting on my sister's knee. She is the one that introduced me to Doctor Who. I hold her wholly responsible. And I remember that all the siblings, even the older ones, we were all just sitting there we all shared a room pretty much, except for my sister. My sister had a room on her own. Which is fair enough because the other one was for boys. So I just remember sitting on a bunk bed on top of my sister's knee, watching a black and white television as the kids had, while the adults had had the full color one, to watch the news and that, and sitting there watching I think it might have been The Curse of Peladon. And I remember sitting there watching it. It was the one with the ghost. What was the name of the monster? What was the name of the monster in Peladon? Agador. Yeah, it was the one with the ghost Agador that used to fly through the corridors and kill people, And I remember sitting on my sister's knee and just watching it, and that's the earliest, 1979. So I would have been 4 years old. So That's where I've pinpointed it. I've tried looking back to see when these were first screened, but there's no record of them back.
So you two have got such a tougher
1979.
deal with this because they were repeated so often. It'd be very hard to pin it down, I would think.
Yeah, no, I can pin down the particular year. I mean, like you said, it was literally in rotation constantly. So as soon as, and I mean, Tom Baker's era hadn't even finished yet. So for a lot of the time, it would go through to Sarah Jane, and then all of a sudden it'd just go back to Tom Baker, back to Pertwee again, and they were very rare as well. So sometimes we'd get little drops of new episodes of even Pertwee. You know, like we'd suddenly get a spearhead from space. And stuff like that, but it wouldn't happen. Sometimes there'd be another rotation where that wouldn't even appear, and it'd start, with a totally different, Terror of the Autons or something, and then start there that way. But
with no rhyme or reason.
Yeah, no, it was really weird, but we didn't care. I mean, you could rewatch episodes and episodes, and I mean, I that's what I was doing, But I remember really, like I said before, with the android invasion. That was the first time I really remember getting stuck into my sister and saying, when's the next episode? When's the next episode? That was the first time, because normally she'd just sit me on my knee and we'd watch television because it was entertainment, And that was the first time I just realized this is my show,
This is my show. I've come home. These are my people, and this is my show, and this is where I belong, and I'm going to love this show forever. I can't think of any shows that have this sort of pull on people in the way that Doctor Who does. I certainly haven't come across one, and there are plenty of other shows that I really love as well. I don't think that the appeal is just limited to classic Doctor Who. I think that the new series has got its sort of hooks into people in a very similar way. People of a different age, obviously, but it's a classic series for me as well. So when did you first see Doctor Who? I mean, in my case, we had Doctor Who on. I am confident that I was pretty much co-parented by the television. It was always on when I was a kid, and it was rarely off BBC One as well. But I think there were Stephen Noonan talks about this quite a lot. In many respects, in the 70s and the 80s, there were houses and families that largely watched the BBC, or alternatively, all they watched was ITV. And in our house, it was the BBC. So it was always on. So I probably saw, heaven knows which Doctor Who episode I saw first. But I do know, I've spoken about my earliest memory before. So one of my earliest memories of anything is of Doctor Who. So whilst I don't know that this was when I first saw it, this is the first thing I've ever been able to pin down because the memory really stayed with me. And it's, I haven't really shown my age here, and it was 50 years ago this year. It was 1975. Pyramids of Mars. Yeah, that's right. Pyramids of Mars. And it was, understandably, I think when something scares you this much, it stays with you. And it's the scene where the gamekeeper gets crushed between the heaving breasts, the bosoms of the two mummy robots. There, whilst the Doctor and Sarah and Scarman are holed up inside the cottage. That really made a mark on me. For years, I had no idea. And when I say years, I don't mean a few years. I'm talking about 20 years. I had no idea which story that was a clip from. That stayed with me, and that did keep me awake at night. It did give me nightmares with a small n. It was certainly not enough to keep me away from the show. I went back and I watched. Just habit forming. It was always on. That's just the first memory that burnt itself into my mind. So 50 years ago this year. I moisturize every day, everybody. 50 years ago. Pyramids of Mars, yeah, that's that precise moment. And there's plenty more from later on as well. Doctor Who sort of gradually formed in my mind as I latched onto the characters' names and worked out the lore of it. But it took something really scary to make that kind of mark with me. So Pyramids of Mars. I've got Pyramids of Mars. We've got Dalek. We've got, what was yours, Matt? Monster of Peladon?
No. Well, yes, it was Monster of Peladon. Yep.
What was yours again, Gary?
Silurians.
Silurians. Yes, it's quite a mix. Quite a mix of stories there. Lots of people in the live chat. Several people said Monster of Peladon, come to think of it. It's a popular one. Standout scene. There's garbage. Funky says Dan is from the days before remote controls existed and had to fiddle the dial to change the channels. Well, we did have a portable black and white set in the kitchen, which you did have to fiddle the dial for. It was really old. But before remote controls, no, the telly that we had when I was that age, so I was really small, but I remember the telly had a wooden door, a sliding wooden door.
Yeah, we had wood paneling on our TV, on our color TV. That's great.
And Matt, it actually did have. So I'm talking about 1975 here. It did have a remote control, and I can remember it to this day because it had around the outside. It was also wood paneled. The surface of the controller was kind of that kind of plastic PVC leather kind of look. So it was kind of dappled to make it look like leather. And inset into it were just 3 big square silver buttons. BBC One, BBC Two, ITV. And it was attached to the television via a wire. So it was plugged in. So, and it would only reach
like early
so far.
VHSs also were connected.
Well, you couldn't sit on the sofa and work the remote. The cord, the cable didn't stretch far enough. You had to do it from the armchair, which was next to the television. So it wasn't this first living room wasn't a big room. It was new technology back then. The remote control.
I was the remote for a long time until I broke a knob off the television. But other than that, they used to send me off to go change the channel or whatever.
Oh, Fly Highlanders worked out. Fly Highlanders worked out that would have been 50 years ago as of 3 days ago. Thank you. I thought it would have been around that time. Thank you. God, I found that quite moving.
We're going to have to do a 50th anniversary at some point.
Of me. Yeah, my journey with Doctor Who has lasted exactly near enough within a couple of days. 50 years. I've spoken about that memory before, but you might not have heard it. And just reliving it still sends a shiver up my spine, Matt. You know,
I love hearing people's stories, to be honest, about how they got into Doctor Who and their first memories. I just love it. It's awesome.
I think these are the things that
it's a communal thing, isn't it? It's a real communal thing. It's just, now everything's all fractured and everything, but we can always just, that's our comfort food.
These are the things that we like comparing. We get together and we talk about these things on the panel, whether it's what's going on in the here and now. And however and whenever we found the show, it tends to be the same things that sort of band us together, or certainly, if not the exact same times, the similar kinds of responses. We all feel similarly about the show, and we want it. We want it to continue in whatever form is appropriate, and to make more fans and to make more memories. But it's comparing and contrasting views on the same stuff or different experiences that kind of anchor our fandoms and may show a story that maybe any of us didn't particularly care for in a totally different light when something, in the case of Pyramids of Mars, obviously it's a story most people like. But I could have just as easily have said, Creature from the Pit or something like that, because there's other stories that stayed with me for a long time as well. Stephen O'Neill says 28,000 people still have a black and white TV license in the UK. Do they really? I was aware that it was still a thing, but
I was thinking that the other day because I grew up on Doctor Who in black and white, even though the color was available. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, wouldn't it be lovely? Because you remember the old, when colour TV first came out, you used to be able to switch between black and white and colour in the actual television itself. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if you could actually do that with a flat screen panel television now? Just change. I would watch Doctor Who in black and white, even though it was a colour program. It took me a long time to get used to colour Doctor Who when we finally got a little television of our own, that was colour. So, you know, it's just, fond memory.
I think we can all safely say, with no shame or embarrassment, Darren, that we're all just more than a little bit actually obsessed with Doctor Who. There are other things in my life, other fandoms, though.
Yeah.
Thank you again for those fantastic.
I missed it. Sorry, what happened there?
Don't play it again, please.
Please do. Please.
It was great.
I was looking. I was too busy enjoying my fan.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Yes. So
We need
that
to
has
speak to.
been. Yes, I did, didn't I? Look more like Connor Kent Superboy in that. Yes. So this has been Ask Us Anything for summer 2025. We used to do these back in the day. Maybe we'll start doing them again as well. Thank you for all the comments. We did get around to most of them. There was one or two. There was some repetition. So we tried to cherry pick to give everybody a fair crack of the whip. If we didn't get around to your question, I do apologize. Maybe next time, because we'll be back for more. We will be back for more. Okay, speaking of more, should we have another one? Should we just sneak in another one? Shall we? How about a bit of this?
Awesome.
Yes, not only is Type 40 live back with you here Mondays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. as always, but they will be back too. So I'm talking about Simon Horton with the Doctor Who Diary. Of course I am. Starry-Eyed Girl, Sarah Graham, David Milling. If we get David Milling and Luke Walters on the same chat together, there's no hope.
Yes.
There's no hope for a single moment. And various other folks we're going to pull in too. Anthony Weiner will be back. Yes, I'm afraid so. The tough guy doctor himself, he'll be swaggering his way back to us at some point, as well as the geeky, rambly Shah, I've no doubt. And maybe the mega geek will rematerialize too. Rebecca Gold isn't too far away, so he'll be freed up. We'll send the old obelisk from the Five Doctors out to nab Ian, I think, and sort of nab him back for a little while, as well as some of our recurring panelists as well that we always enjoy catching up with here at Type 40 Live. And there's you, of course, in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. Again, thank you for your contributions and those questions on this edition of the show. We've had a blast. It's great to be back. I hope you've enjoyed it too. And where would we be without one another or lots of this?
This is Philip Roy playing the Doctor.
And I'm Mandy Rose and I play Jenny.
For the Doctor Who fan film, Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion, this is the Type 40 podcast.
Yes, so any more questions? There probably is at some point in the near future, but that's it for now. We have to leave it there.
At least he stopped with the rude graffiti, didn't he?
The night is young. The night is young. Okay, so if you want some more, you can get it. You can come and say hello. Come and say hello to us as always across our social medias. That's Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who, or come and join us in the Type 40 Facebook group. As ever, come and pick a fight, review an episode, chip in with some of the issues, the pressing issues in the Whoniverse today, this week, this year, or dredge up an old bugbear and give that another airing as well. It's all fair game there in the Type 40 Facebook group. Then there's our speak pipe too. You can leave us a message there as well. Another question, maybe if you didn't get yours in this time, you can give us a prediction, maybe about what's to come in the future in all things Who, on or off screen. Get all of that into us there at Speak Pipe. Covering all things Doctor Who. Yeah, from the way back then to the right here and the right now, as ever at Type 40 Live. We're going to get back into the groove. There's a lot to cover. There's certain big things on the horizon coming in the waves that we haven't really talked about yet. We're going to get round to that. Of course we are, as well as a number of little things that we've got, little jewels that we're polishing up just for you. Yeah, you can't wait for
polishing
that.
Something.
We're going to run around in the TARDIS for a while now, for just a couple of days. Well, I think we better, whilst it's still erect.
Yeah, I better hurry.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you wait till Charlotte goes before you say stuff like that.
Oh dear. Yes. So
Shuty's a
we're
wrecked
gonna have a run around
TARDIS.
between now
That
and then.
is.
Yes. Dear, oh dear. Okay, yes. So let's have a look at some more comments before we shoot off, because it is the first show back, come to think of it. Garbage, Lord Thoth, everybody, our fabulous moderators there in the live chat. Thank you so much. Who else is here? Funky. Funky's in. Yeah, Funky says, can't wait for Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. No, nobody can wait. More news on that soon. We've had a sneaky
You're not
peek.
kidding.
So yeah, more news, hopefully sooner rather than later, and maybe we can bring in the fabulous Philip Roy and other people connected and see what he can tell us about what to expect, what to expect, and when. Whatever happened to Atomic Blonde? Says David Mullen. You mean Andy, the fabulous Andy, the Atomic Blonde? She's not been on the show for a while. I'm still in contact with her. Speak to Andy quite a lot, so she has promised to return at some point. I'll tell her that she's missed, David.
She just did a Superman review on her channel over the weekend.
There you go. So go and check out Andy, Atomic Blonde. I'll pop the link in the live chat there, and we'll pull her back in somehow. See if we. I think we're more likely to get Andy to come back now that the Gatwa era is over. Come to think of it, because there's lots of other things that she'd rather talk about than that. People sending in more questions? No, we haven't afraid that's it, everybody. But thank you so much for everything there. Yeah, we're going to run around in the TARDIS for a little while longer, but sincerely, it's fabulous to be back here with Type 40 Live. The Big Who is obviously coming in a couple of days. In a couple of days' time, more of our mix of news, views, banter, discussions, and nostalgia, lashings of fan art as ever, with Type 40 Live back in session. So don't miss us coming up this Thursday from 8 p.m. Make sure you're subbed. Hit that cloister bell to get all the notifications too. Thanks as ever to Charlotte Shields, Queen Charlotte. They're polishing up her crown, ready for the next time, I don't doubt. Look how you're faring, mate. You necked that can quite a while ago. You're on the hot stuff now. Hot beverage?
No, I've got one left. I've done 3 since this podcast has started. I've got one.
Fucking hell. It's not bad.
You're not going fast enough, Luke. Speed it up next time.
I think I'm in work. I think I'm in work tomorrow, and I was like, I can't remember what time I'm in. I don't remember. I make my own schedule anyway, so it's not too bad.
What's my name again?
Yeah, no, really good, really good, really
up.
hot. But I got my nice fan, so I'm having a great time.
Awesome. Matt Pot, thanks for getting up again, mate. It's good to have you back on the show. In the cold, even more
We're like
so.
3 degrees here at the moment, so yeah, it's lovely.
3 degrees. Yeah, I was talking about my tasty music earlier on. I did like the 3 degrees.
Me too. They were a good group.
You too, Gary.
I'm not a music fan.
When will I see you again? That was their big hit.
It was indeed fabulous stuff from the mid to late 70s, I think it was.
Yep.
Gary, good to have you back as well. I'm looking forward to chatting about Superman.
Oh,
in the not too distant future. I've spotted your cap. I've tried to take my mind off it because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I can't wait to talk about the new Superman movie. So stay tuned to the Facebook Live for some of that. You have to watch the Spacebook Live coming soon, our special Superman show coming at the weekend. If you're not subscribed to our second channel, the Spacebook, that's where you can get all the outside of the TARDIS stuff there in movies and TV and comic books with myself, Gary, and sometimes Matt, and various other people that we know from across podcasting and YouTube. So please, come and check that out too. In the meantime, that is it for now. We always have the time. If you have the space here at Type 40 Live, it's really good to be back. Thank you so much, everyone, for your company. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.